You too. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. As always, I'm your girl, Candy Washington. So, before we dive into today's Kiki, which is icy apologies, the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City season 4, recapping episode 11 and 12. So before we dive in, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. So with that, you guys, let's get into it. Happy belated Thanksgiving to Natoski, to Tay the Savior, and also to Rose. Thank you guys so much. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Be sure to drop your name, say hello, where you're listening from, and any questions or comments that you might have. All right. So the last couple of episodes, they've been fun and cute, except for Whitney's friend passing. That was kind of sad and just really, my heart goes out to her and just very, very, very sad. That was a very humbling thing to watch. And I must say, before we get too far into our kikis and our shade, that it did give really great perspective on life. Definitely love people, love yourself, hug yourself, cherish every single moment you have on this earth because you never know when it will be your last. So sending condolences to Whitney and just in remembrance of her beautiful friend, Sherry. All right. Now, I love that during these episodes, they're doing more authentic dives into their relationships and marriages, right? Like we're kind of seeing where the cracks are. We're seeing where everything is going. When it comes to Meredith and Seth and Whitney and Justin, even Lisa and her husband, I feel like everybody, especially Angie and her husband too, I kind of feel like everybody's relationship is either just sort of floating or it's in an understanding, like in an arrangement, or the arrangement itself is getting uncomfortable because it's getting exposed, if that makes sense. And I'll talk about that a little bit more when I go on each person's slide, okay? I loved how the weird grudges and fights are kind of being put to bed, like Lisa versus Heather. Like, I'm excited that that's being put to bed. I was really tired of Heather's personality being, I hate Lisa Barlow. Psych, I love Lisa Barlow. You know what I mean? So I'm happy that that narrative is being put to bed. I think we're going to have a lot more fresh conversations, a lot more fun, more of a dynamic duo. Like, I'm really excited for that. Then also when it comes to Meredith and Whitney, like I'm happy that that weird feud has kind of been put to bed. I wonder if it will be reignited later on in the season. I think it probably will be, but at least for now, Meredith and Whitney seem to be in a good place. And then these episodes have really been setting up for the whole, excuse me, for the whole Bermuda meltdown, and the group is finally seeing Monica for who she is. We're getting Monica versus Heather, Monica versus Lisa, Monica versus the group, right? But then in this episode, we also started to see a little bit of Lisa versus Meredith. And again, I hope not. Like, I'm tired of that. Let's move on, ladies. And then also we're seeing Whitney versus Lisa when, Lisa didn't kiss Whitney's butt when she came into Meredith's party, and Whitney was feeling some type of way because Lisa and Heather's relationship is getting better, right? But here we go. Dun, 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 dun. All right, let's talk about Monica. So as we all know, Monica's lies and weird freakouts are being exposed, but I also wanted to put this out there for you guys to see what you guys think about this. I think that production has actually been protecting Monica because she's a production plant. I think that production brought her onto the show 100% understanding that she was going to stir the pot. She was going to, put things out there to bring the drama. She was Jen Shah's assistant. Like, I think she is 100% a producer plant, very much like Kyle is a producer plant on Beverly Hills, how Brynn is a producer plant on the Real Housewives of New York, how Kenya is a producer plant on Roa, right? I think she's 100% a producer plant and she's been being protected. And I'll tell you why. I think that her behavior has been much, much, much worse than what has actually been shown on screen. Because if you think about it, Sure, Monica has had some meltdowns. She's had some moments. She's had some drama. She said some questionable, shady things about, Lisa's old and her face and get both, blah, blah, blah. But comparatively to what we've seen versus the lady's reaction doesn't match up. And Lisa Barlow also said there was a lot that wasn't shown about the conversation that they had at Heather's weird little house on the prairie party, right? Lisa was like, there was so much that wasn't shown that happened. And then also, even with when Monica lost her mind at the Greek dinner, she threw a shoe at people and it almost hit children. Like, why is it production shows, Lisa Barlow's hot mic moments? They show, Angie throwing a glass. They show people going nuts and crazy, people peeing on themselves, Heather and puking on herself, people blacking out. They show all of this horrible behavior, but why are they not showing the actual juice and the nuts and bolts of Monica's poor behavior? Because Heather's reaction this episode, along with Angie's reaction, and even like Whitney and Meredith and Lisa, the way that they're responding to Monica makes me feel like there was something way bigger that she has done and said than what we've actually seen. Like Angie and Heather were having like a serious like coffee conversation, like, listen, I don't know if we can travel with this bee. Like, I don't even know if we could go to Bermuda. Like, who questions a cash trip? You see what I'm saying? Like, what is really going on? And I think that's why it's going to seem more like a surprise to us when the Bermuda stuff happens. But I think to the ladies, it's not going to be that big of a jump. I think it'll be a shock. Yes, they're not going to be expecting it. But I think Monica has had very, very, very poor behavior that production has not shown us. They even said that who said it? I think it was either Meredith or Lisa, maybe even Heather had said, "Oh, production really did you a favor by not showing everything from the Greek dinner." So my question is, why is she being so protected? Everybody else is being shown, right? Now, from not this last episode, but the episode before, I did think Monica hanging out with her daughter was a very beautiful, touching moment, talking about her dad. But again, stop bashing your mom in the process. Your mom kept your memorabilia. She was there to support you during the birth of your daughter. Like, you just need to stop with the fake abusive mom narrative. I'm happy that that was not talked about on this last episode. This was episode 11 I'm talking about. Episode 12, thank goodness we didn't talk about that because I'm over it. It's done. Stick a fork in it, buddy. You know what I'm saying? And then Monica came to Heather's party with an attitude. She came with an attitude ready to go. But then she was on her best behavior at Meredith's party because Heather put her on notice. So when Heather sat Monica down and was like, listen, boo-boo, you're not fitting in. This isn't working. We might have to cancel this Bermuda birthday bash for you if you cannot get yourself all the way together. So that's why she came to Meredith's party ready with a full apology in her mouth to Lisa, kissing Lisa's butt from A, B, C, D to Z. You see what I'm saying? And so Monica knows when to shut up and she knows when to show out. So to me, that shows you that her outburst, her dramatic breakdowns are all planned by her. They're all well within her control. Because when the moment she was put on blast and she was put on notice, she was fine. She shut all the way up. She brought rum. She brought cake. She was apologizing to Lisa. She had no problems. She had no issues. She was on best behavior, boo-boo, because she didn't want to jeopardize that Bravo check in her 15 minutes of fame on the show. Right? Okay. Now, I also noticed that when Heather was talking about Monica's behavior, like, oh, she will start mess, she'll engage in toxic fights, but then she'll play the victim. Like, I don't know what her deal is. 1 minute she's happy and having fun. The next minute she's, cussing people out. The next minute she's flat and doesn't have any type of personality. And then the next minute she's blaming everybody for the fights, even though she gets just as dirty in the fights. And she's like, that reminds me of Jen Shaw, but it also reminds me of Monica and her mother's dynamic, where Monica will start the fight. she'll be just as messy with her mom, and then she turns around and regurgitates it as the narrative of her being the victim and her not being able, she's the one who everybody's coming at. And I think the ladies are seeing, I mean, I think they already knew, like, lay off your mom, but I think they're seeing that dynamic that her mom even talked about. That's why at the Easter dinner, her mom, when she went and like stomped off in her temper tantrum, her mom was like, no, 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 like just leave her. Like, don't say anything. This is just Monica. Like, just leave her. Like, whatever the case is. Because this is who Monica is. People always love to blame the mom, but mothers know their children. And you can have a toxic ass daughter without being an abusive mother. You see what I'm saying? I mean, to the point where she had to go to Mary for support. Mary. Like, Monica really likes Mary. Come on now. She just likes Mary because Mary hates everybody else. Okay? Now let's move on to Miss Lisa Barlow. And you guys, I know that winter is coming, and I know that there is snow on the ground where I am at. But hell has frozen over because I have to call my girl out. Lisa, I'm not on your side in these arguments, boo-boo. I still love you. I'm still a stan. But Lisa, you know me. I have my favorites, but I'm not a fan. Meaning I call people out how I see it. So even though I like Lisa, I'm going to call her out on her stuff, okay? We'll get into it. Now, first, I am totally okay with Jack Barlow not going on a mission. I'm not sure why that kept making news. Jack spotted in California. Jack no longer going to mission in Colombia. Good. Okay. Next. Like, what? Like, I don't know why that's making news. I'm fine with that. Check. However, I'm also tired of the storyline. Like, we get it. I don't need to see anybody else's kid go to prom. I don't need anybody else's kid starting their own fashion line. I don't need anybody else's kid going to college, going to a mission. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of seeing your kids go off to places. I'm not watching the Real Housewives Children Edition. I want the Real Housewives. So it can be a moment. It can be a scene, an episode, but I don't need storyline arcs about your kids being kids. People go on missions. People go to prom. People go to college. People graduate. People leave the nest. We get it. I don't need any more Jack Barlow storyline. I don't. I'm over it. But what I do love is her friendship with Heather. I think I'm going to be really here for it. I think that's like the friendship that we've been missing, and we're going to really want it. It's ruffling a lot of feathers, and by feathers, I mean Whitney. Whitney is so in her feelings about this budding relationship. She is so in her feelings about it. It's not even funny. Not even funny, right? Like, her friend passed away, and she made it about Heather and Lisa. Like, girl, bye, stop, full stop, okay? And the reason why Whitney is so in her feelings about this is because don't forget how this all started, okay? I'll say this now, even though we're on Lisa's slide, I'll talk about Whitney real quick. The reason why Whitney is so in her feelings when it comes to Lisa and Heather being friends is this. How it all started. Heather so desperately wanted to be friends with Lisa, but Heather got in her feelings when Lisa Barlow was like, I don't remember her. I don't know her. Like, we're just meeting, remember? And she was like, oh, you don't know me? We went to school together. You're calling me the good time girl? You gave me a thumbs up. A thumbs up is like an FU emoji. Remember when she was like so in her feelings and Lisa was like, I'm confused. I think we went to the same school. You see what I'm saying? Heather never got over that. And Heather did what Heather does when she's mad, particularly at Lisa Barlow or anybody. She recruits people on that mission. She gets people around her to then she becomes the victim, and then she gets people around her to then go against the person that hurt Heather's feelings. And that person was her cousin, Whitney. And Whitney, don't forget, wanted to be friends with Lisa. But instead of being friends with Lisa, she doubled down with Heather. They became bad weather, and the both of them were going after Lisa hardcore for like the first 2 seasons, remember? And then the moment bad weather broke up Lisa and Heather, and that's when Whitney and Heather broke up bad weather. And that is when Lisa and Whitney became friends. Like, this was about season 3, but it was because Heather and Whitney were beefing. They had their whole falling out. Whitney was like, I'm taking a friendship vacation from Heather, this, that, and the third. I want to be friends with Lisa. Lisa's great, blah, blah, blah. And I think that Whitney is now all in her feelings, seeing her two nemesises now come together to be friends. So she's like, wait a minute, Heather. You talk so much crap about Lisa. You made me hate Lisa. You put all this stuff in my ear about Lisa, but now you're friends with her and you don't have my back. Oh, wait a minute, Lisa. You hate Heather. You've talked about Heather like a dog for the last 4 seasons, but now you and Heather are friends, but you don't have my back as a friend. So I think that Whitney is feeling left out and she's probably feeling used. Like, okay, so Heather, when you didn't like Lisa, we were such good friends bashing her. Okay, Lisa, when you didn't like Heather, we were such good friends bashing her. But now I'm the odd person out. Do you see what I'm saying? So I think that's what's going on with Whitney, right? But when it comes to Lisa, she did make a great point. She said, someone who talks about their mother like that will never be a friend to you or to any other woman. And she was talking about Monica, and that is spot on. She called it right, because Monica now is a liar and she's being exposed, and now everyone is seeing it. But this is where I have to diverge my love for Lisa, is that she was definitely on the wrong side of the Meredith issue. She was definitely being a hypocrite. You can't say, oh, Meredith, you're horrible. You're this horrible person. I did distance myself from, because you said you knew something about somebody's family, or you knew secrets and rumors about them. But then on Mad Day, when you're mad at Monica, you turned around and said the same exact thing to Meredith. Oh, Monica is mean to me, but she shouldn't be because she's low-hanging fruit. I know a lot about her. I could say a lot of things about her. You said the same exact thing that basically Meredith said about Angie. The reason why you have a problem with Meredith isn't really because you want to have Angie's back. It's because you haven't gotten over what has happened over the last few seasons. And I get it. It was traumatic. It was hurtful. But you're now the new Meredith, where you're harping on a grudge that needs to be put to bed. Because when you harp on a grudge too long, you're the one who starts to stink, not the other person. And I get it. You feel like Meredith didn't have your back. She was a bad friend. She was talking about you and your family and your business. But at the end of the day, all of you ladies talk about each other. All of you ladies do it. And I think it's enough. I think it's enough, Lisa. I think Lisa maybe needs to talk to someone about the issues she's having with her friends and her friendship dynamics, and being able to sort of let some of that stuff go, because it looked really childish. And Lisa knew she was wrong when she had lunch with Meredith. Meredith's like, wait a minute, hold up. You're saying you're not going to be friends with me for saying that I know a rumor about somebody, when we all know rumors about people, and I never even said what the rumor was. And now you're turning around and doing the same exact thing. It cuts both ways. So when it comes to that situation, I'm on Meredith's side. She had the most logical argument, and she made the most sense about it. Now, when it comes to Lisa versus Whitney, I am on Whitney's side to an extent, because I just don't really trust Whitney. I do believe Lisa when she said, hey, everybody grieves differently. I didn't know how to approach you. And I think it went a couple of ways. I think it went one, yes, I do think Lisa was telling the truth when she was like, listen, I don't know how you grieve, and it's an awkward conversation. Like, you don't always know how to deal with somebody else's pain and grief. I totally understand that. I think that was a very valid point. I do think that Lisa was already in her own head about a lot of other stuff, and she was just preoccupied. She's becoming friends with Heather. She doesn't want to really talk to Monica. Like, she just had a lot of her own stuff on her own plate. And I think sometimes when we are going through our own grief and pain, and we're so consumed by it, we forget that other people have their own life too, and they have their own agenda and objectives with that. But I say that to say this. Lisa should have, and this is why I think Lisa needs to talk to somebody about her female friendships, because I do think she's very traumatized by the show. But I say that to say this. I do think that Lisa should have handled the way Whitney reacted differently. Because I think the only thing in that moment is not defending yourself, it's to comfort your friend. And she should have just said, "Oh my God, I am so, so sorry. I love you. Are you okay?" And she should have just scooped her up in her arms and gave her a big old hug and just said, "You know what? However you feel is right. If I didn't say hi to you, if I brought somebody else a gift, if I did, whatever you're saying is 100% right and valid. And I'm so, so sorry. And I love you. And I'm here for you. What do you need from me in this moment?" Right? Because I don't think that Lisa truly meant anything by what she was doing. I don't think she was in her mind like, Whitney just lost her best friend to cancer. Let me go be a jerk to her at this party. I think Lisa is just very self-absorbed. Lisa was into what Lisa needed to do and what her agenda was and all of that stuff. I don't think it was a personal slight to Whitney. But at the same time, when someone has just lost their friend or lost anybody or is going through any type of crisis, sometimes when you are, even not intentionally, but if you are being insensitive to where they're at, then yes, you can kind of just, put your tail between your legs and suck it up, and you show up for your friend in that moment. Because particularly in those moments, you're not in your right mind. Your emotions are all over the place. You don't know what's going to set you off. You don't know how you're going to react. Now, my only hesitancy with that when it comes to Whitney is, you guys know I always watch their faces and I watch their eyes. So when Whitney came back into Meredith's party, when Lisa had stomped off, she had this look of satisfaction on her face, like, I got that bee. And to me, I was like, that's not the look of someone who is distraught that their friend didn't hug them over their friend's death. That is the look of someone who felt like they just got one over on somebody that they didn't like. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. Yeah. That's kind of where I land on that one. But I want to know what you guys think. And to me, and then the fact that we see the promos when Whitney brings it up again, like, "Oh, you brought Heather and all this other stuff." It's just like, what was your actual issue, Whitney? Was your issue that Lisa didn't comfort you in the way that you needed to be comforted in that moment? Or is your issue that Lisa brought Heather a gift and they're getting along and you feel like the odd man out? Because I'm just thinking about me. God forbid, I am not speaking this into existence, okay? I'm not speaking this. Hypothetically, if a friend of mine that I love dearly passed away, I don't think, and this is just me, and again, everybody grieves differently, I don't think I would have the wherewithal to be keeping score about who brought a gift to who at a party. I think I would be like, "Wait a minute, like, you didn't, like, I need you, like, come say hi to me, like, come hug me, like, come talk to me, like, I need you." That, yes, but I don't think that if my true reason why I'm upset with someone is from them not comforting me, would I even think, "Oh, but you brought somebody a gift." Like, did Whitney think she should have brought her a gift? And Lisa was like, "I have flowers coming to you." And she's like, "I don't want flowers. I want you." And also, Whitney, I'm just going to be honest with you. Lisa isn't your man. Lisa is your friend / coworker. She's not your man. You were talking to Lisa like she owed you money, like you had just had sex with her. Like you were talking to Lisa like should be talking to, like, your husband or, somebody who owes you money. Like, that's how you were talking to her. Like, Lisa is your coworker, and sure, she's your friend. There's levels to this. Yes, she should have hugged you and said, "I'm so sorry." But also, Whitney, I understand you're grieving, but, like, manage your expectations. I want you. What? Get the hell out of here. It's just, it's too bizarre. It's too bizarre. Okay, let's move on to Ange. So Angie and her husband are obviously struggling, and it's kind of painful to watch. Like, he wasn't on this episode, but he was on the last episode. And I stand by this. What I think when it comes to this is that I think that Angie and her husband have an agreement. Like, I think a lot of these people do, that they're going to do life together and they're going to raise their daughter together. You know, when they say 2 years since they've been alone, that's obviously code for they haven't had sex in 2 years. And I felt like their dinner date was a bit staged to address the cheating rumors and the state of their marriage. Um, or I don't know, do you guys think they really want to work on their marriage? Or are they actually happy with how things are? Which is what I think. I think they're actually happy with how things are. I think he's fine doing him. I think she's fine doing her. And I think they're fine being co parents to their daughter. What I think they're not fine with is the rumors and the speculation and the scrutiny that has now been put upon their marriage and their relationship. Do you see what I'm saying? Because I think if it's been 2 years with not being alone, maybe more, who knows, having their 12-year-old daughter sleep in the bed with them, or however old she is, she's too old to be sleeping in the bed, that's for damn sure. You know, all of the allegations about both him and Angie having their own affairs. You know, there's stuff has come out about Angie cheating and him cheating. I don't know if it's cheating, if they have an understanding, but you know what I mean, dipping out. So I think that had it not been for the rumors that put a microscope on their marriage, I don't think that they would actually care to have their alone dinner dates or change the dynamic of their marriage. I think a long time ago, they made the decision, let's just do life together for whatever reason, whether it's because of being, you know, Greek Orthodox, being in the Mormon community, whether it's society, whether it's family, religion, where they feel the need to sort of have this sort of stereotypical husband, wife, kid, house situation. I think a long time ago, they came together and said, you know what? I really love you and I love you too. It might not be that romantic love, but I love you. We have all of these external factors and stressors and expectations. Let's just do life together. That's what I think they decided. And I think it actually really worked for them until she got on the show and the world was asking questions. You see what I'm saying? But to me, Angie, I could leave her. I don't really need her on the show. I don't know what she's bringing. I don't know. It's not personality, maybe a little bit of storyline with the rumors, but I don't know. She's just flat to me. I don't really know what she really brings. She has a little bit of a spat with Meredith here and there. I guess she's like someone to ask questions. I don't know. I don't know if we need her in particular. Maybe a different housewife, I think, could probably replace her. I don't think that if she were to not come back, it would be a loss to the show. I don't really know exactly what she's bringing, if that makes sense. Okay. Now, let's talk about Miss Whitney Rose. Whitney Rose. So like I said, I did feel really bad for her about the passing of her friend. And then Whitney and Justin are having major problems. Okay? Major problems. Number one, financial. Again, what happened to the skincare line after spending thousands and thousands of dollars on it? Your life savings or the money you're going to spend to make a, retirement house or vacation home, whatever the hell excuse you guys were using. What happened to the skincare line? Again, I think that was nothing but some type of white collar financial scheme. I think they either used that skincare line to wash money, launder money, evade taxes, something. I don't know. I don't know the exact fraud, but it smells like fraud. You don't just say, I spent our life savings or the equivalent of what we could have bought a whole entire house for. And it's just like, da-da-da-da, like we didn't skip a beat. What? There's some fraud in there. I'm sorry. Because just as a human being, I don't care how strong your marriage is, unless you are so financially abundant that hundreds of thousands of dollars would mean nothing to you financially, that is going to cause a major problem in your relationship. And at the time, it didn't. I think they're having problems now, but I think they're having multiple problems. I don't think their core problem is this squandering of hundreds of thousands of dollars. I think they're having financial problems in general, in addition to that. Do you see what I'm saying? But we'll see. And then she's also got defensive about the therapist. Like, do you think therapy's working? He shut me down. I was talking about the finances. And it's like, and I actually agree with Justin. I actually agreed with Justin a lot. He was like, well, I think it's hard in the short term, but in the long term, it's helpful. And that is how therapy should be. In the therapy session, you should be challenged. You should be a little triggered, a little pissed off, because that means that you're starting to shake up your thoughts. You're starting to shake up your patterns. You're starting to have more self-awareness. So if your therapist is actually challenging you and pushing you, obviously in a healthy way, that's actually how you're supposed to do therapy. You're not supposed to just leave therapy being like, oh my God, sunshine and rainbows, and I'm always right. If you leave your therapist thinking you're always right, you should find a new therapist, because your therapist is there to challenge you. So it actually sounds like you have a good therapist and you're being triggered by what your therapist is calling to light, which is why what Justin said is true. You get triggered in the moment. The therapist gives you awareness. Well, this is how you're actually showing up in the world. And this is the consequence for that. And then after you have time to mull it over and to think, and after a couple more sessions and living life and applying your work, you're like, oh, now I totally get why I was pushed for that. Now I know how to communicate better. Now I know how to do my finances better. Now I understand why people are responding to me this way. Therapy is supposed to challenge you, not coddle you. And it seems like Whitney just wants a therapist who's going to agree with her rather than actually push her. And that's why she really annoys me with her whole weaponizing her healing journey and her childhood trauma and her therapy speak. She's definitely that person who weaponizes all of those things. Childhood trauma is real. Healing journeys are necessary for every person on this planet. But weaponizing it against other people is not okay. And it's actually a sign that you are not healed and you're not on your healing journey when you try to manipulate people by using trigger words and buzzwords and your trauma and your pain to manipulate and control other people in order for them to do what you want them to do, or to villainize them when they don't do what you want to do. And that's what Whitney does. These are my boundaries. Shut up, Whitney. Shut up. It's crazy. And also, where she really fell flat, and I felt really bad for Justin. Wait 1 second. And another thing where I felt really bad for Justin was when he was saying, oh, like, it actually really helps when we talk to other couples. When we talk to other couples, and it helps when I hear, Seth is like on my side and everything like that. And I'm going to use a lot of therapy buzzwords. She is so dismissive and invalidating to him as a man. She totally emasculates him and takes him out of his healthy masculine energy, because he was being vulnerable. He was being honest. He was opening up. And what did she say to him? She goes, oh, so you want to be validated? Excuse me, miss? Your husband is opening up to you about what is therapeutic and healthy for him when trying to create a healthy marriage to you, and you completely dismiss and invalidate him by saying, oh, so you need validation? No, you dummy. He needed support. You, Whitney, wanted validation from your therapist. That's why you got pissed when you didn't get it. He was saying it was nice to have Seth on my side. It was nice to have a guy's perspective who understands where, like, I'm coming from, right? Because it is different. It is nice to have, like, for example, say you're in, two couples talking, and the woman of the couple is like, yeah, Candy, like, I totally get what you're saying. When my husband does that, I feel the same, and blah, 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 blah. It's nice to have that support system of another person. And what Justin was saying was that it was nice to have Seth's support in that moment, because clearly he was not feeling supported by his wife. But to say, oh, you need validation, is a very slick way of cutting him down. You see? And that's why he's not wearing his wedding ring. That's why you guys aren't having sex. That's why he has one foot out the door. The problem is you, Whitney. The call is coming from inside the house. Okay? Hello. All right. Now, let's see. Da, 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 da. I did like the conversation they had a couple of episodes ago about Justin's father passing away and then Justin stepping up for her and then she stepped up for her in the family. Whitney might also be having a Kyle syndrome moment and also a Dorit syndrome moment. I'll break down the two. The Dorit syndrome moment that I think Whitney is having is that Whitney thinks she's had this glow up. She's had the plastic surgery. She's gotten the body. She's gotten the face. She's gotten to be on Bravo. She has a little bit of fame. She's making this, Bravo check. I think Whitney wants to cash Justin in for a younger, hotter, wealthier model. The same thing I think Dorit wants to do with PK. She feels like I got the face, I got the body, I got the plastic surgery, I got this little Bravo check, I got my 15 minutes of fame. I want to cash in on these old broke dudes, And so I do think it's that Dorit syndrome where she's ready to find a hotter, younger, man with more coins. And then I also think that Whitney might be having a bit of Kyle syndrome, sort of this like midlife crisis. I don't know how old Whitney is, but you know what I'm saying. I feel like a midlife crisis is anywhere from like 35 to 55. I don't know. Anyway, I feel like she's also having sort of like a midlife crisis. She took Lisa not paying attention to her at Meredith's party way too far. She's extremely short and dismissive to Justin, very similar to how Kyle treats Mauricio. Very short, very dismissive, very combative. You can see in every single episode, Justin just looks like a deer in headlights and he just wants to run away from her because she's constantly putting him down, And then she's weaponizing, like I said before, the healing journey, and all of that stuff. Very similar to how Kyle is just like, I'm not drinking and I'm exercising and all of this stuff and blah, 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 which I think are good things for her to cope, but still weaponizing it, right? So I think she's kind of having those crises, and I've never liked Whitney, and I still don't. I'm sorry, I don't. I don't. Like, girl, stop. But I did think it was interesting that on Watch What Happens Live, she called out Monica's Freudian slip. So this is where the rumor came from that Monica stole Lisa Barlow's $60K ring. So Whitney said that Monica slipped up and said, I helped Lisa find her ring. And but then Andy was like, but it was never found. And Whitney's like, exactly. You know what I mean? Like, you would say, I helped Lisa look for her ring. But if you say I helped her find it, that means you found it. So, Monica, if you found the ring, where is it, boo-boo? And to be honest with you, energy and Freudian slips, what people say when they are just on autopilot, what the subconscious slips out, usually is the truth. Why would she say, I helped Lisa find her ring instead of I helped Lisa look for it? Like, I helped you look for your ring. Like, I'm sorry you didn't find it, but like, I helped you look for it. But if I'm upset and I'm in the moment and I'm not thinking, if I'm not staying in my lie, I'm going to say, but I helped you find your ring and you're still treating me this way. You see what I'm saying? Your subconscious mind will slip in those Freudian slips and tell on you every single time. Every single time. So the fact that Monica said, I helped Lisa find her ring, to me, that solidifies even more something shady happened. Because why would you say she helped her find it? Watch the last night's episode of Watch What Happens Live with Whitney on it. Her and Andy Cohen actually have for once, an intelligent conversation about it. Because Andy's like, well, wait a minute. Wouldn't you say I helped you look for it? And Whitney's like, yeah, that's what you would say. You wouldn't say I helped you find it. So Miss Monica, and as we already know, Monica is a liar. We did a whole video on the receipts that got exposed. She's countersuing Beauty Lab and everything like that. But then she's countersuing Beauty Lab for $50,000. But then the receipts came out that there were screenshots and DMs and everything of Monica talking about how much she loved her look, she loved her face, that, she's getting all these compliments and she couldn't wait to come back. But yet you're trying to claim that they did a botched job. So to me, if you are a person who will disrespect your mother, who will file frivolous lawsuits, who will lie about being divorced, who will lie about why they got divorced, who will lie on the father of their children. She was acting like the father of her kids just abandoned her and the kids, and she was a single mom with no money trying to raise the kids, and that turned out to be a lie. He was still in the children's life. He just moved to a different state, but he was also still financially supporting her and his children as he should. So that was also a lie. So if you're willing to lie in legal documents, disrespect your mother publicly and privately, lie on the father of your children who is still financially supporting you, why would you not steal a $60,000 ring? Not to mention you worked for Jen Shaw. So that right there says your moral compass is literally nowhere to be found. So a person who is capable of all that, why wouldn't they steal a ring? I think this is what I think happened. Again, this is a hypothetical opinion-based scenario. I think Lisa lost her ring. I think that Monica was helping her to look for it. I think she found it exactly like she said. And then I think Lisa was talking about it was $60,000. I can't believe I lost my $60,000 ring, blah, 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 blah. It's real, you guys. And I think Monica was like, "Oop, you mean this ring is real? You mean these diamonds are real? Wait, you mean this is $60,000? Swoop, right down in her pants pocket, popped it in her purse, popped it up her cooch. I don't know. That to me is what I think happened. Because then people said after Lisa lost her ring, Monica came into a lot of money. Now, whether or not she was wearing a part of the ring, because as you know, when you have bulk jewelry, because Lisa's ring was stacked, it had about 3 or 4 rings to it. Like the stacked ring, it was like a stacked diamond ring. And if you know anything about jewelry, you're able to dismantle, you can melt jewelry, you can take things out, all of that stuff. So do I think that, the ring that Monica was wearing was one of the dismantled diamond rings that that Lisa had? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. They look very similar. Who knows? But all signs are pointing to there is a fly in the milk. Fly in the milk. All right. Now let's turn to Heather. Okay. So Heather, I said it before, I'll say it again. I'm loving her and Lisa's budding friendship. I'm here for it. I hope it continues. It's a vibe. It's a vibe. Honestly, this season, Heather has been so much more tolerable. I don't know if it's because she's, holding her ground with Whitney. I don't know if it's because Jen Shaw is no longer on the show. I don't know if it's because her personality is no longer hating Lisa Barlow. I'm liking Heather so much more this season. Like, I really am. She's less irritating. But with that being said, the theme of her party was whack. Like, if you're leaving the Mormon church, if you are writing literally a book series on bad Mormon leaving the Mormon church, then leave the freaking church. We don't need a whole party with Little House on the Mormon Prairie. It's boring to me. I felt the same way when Ebony did the Black History Month dinner in New York City. I'm bored. I don't want history lessons. I don't want a Black history lesson. I don't want a Mormon lesson. I don't want any lesson. Stop. This ain't school, okay? This is not an online class. I don't want it. I don't want it. I want decadence and fun and champagne and feathers and sequins and lace and just fun things, or just like a fun girl party. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't want any history lesson on any culture or religion, or I don't want it. Stop. Let it go. It was boring. It was whack. Okay. But what was refreshing was to see Heather see through Monica's lies. But I do think the timing is very convenient. Like I said before, Heather loves that when she is beefing with someone, particularly Lisa Barlow, to get other people to join in on the beef with this person. So Heather had no problem reeling in Monica to fight on her behalf to go against Lisa. Because don't forget, when Lisa Barlow had Jack's, what's the name of the party? Like I don't know, the assignment party, whatever the hell it was called. She had the brunch. And then Angie told Heather about the brunch that she wasn't invited to. Heather then got all in her feelings. Why wasn't I invited to the brunch? Like, is it because I wrote a book? Blah, 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 blah. And then in the next scene, you see Heather talking to Monica, being like, oh, well, how does Lisa know about you and your mom? She's been telling people. She told Whitney that you're lying about it, about your mom being abusive. She wound Monica up because she was pissed that Lisa didn't invite her to the brunch. And then Monica went and did her bidding. So I think the timing is very, very convenient that Heather is now all of a sudden friends with Lisa. And now all of a sudden she's seeing the truth of who Monica is. I think she always saw the truth of who Monica was. But as long as Monica was useful to her to go against Lisa, she wanted to be friends with her. Because did you notice how when Heather was talking to Monica about their Bermuda trip, she said, oh, you have to apologize to Lisa. Why? Is it because you and Lisa are now friends? Do you see what I'm saying? I highly, highly, highly doubt that Heather would have told Monica that she owes Lisa Barlow an apology if Heather and Lisa had not been friends, had not gotten back on that good foot. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I think is going on with them. But it's refreshing to see her see through it, you know. I'm looking forward to seeing the Bermuda breakdown. I'm looking forward to see what happens with all of that. And like I said before, she came with the receipts regarding the lawsuit with Monica and Beauty Lab. Again, Monica got caught lying. They had receipts and screenshots from 2019 of Monica talking about how much she loved her face, how much she loved the results, and how she looked so good. Did not seem like a botched job to me. Definitely not a 50K botched job. So, Monica girl, bye. All right, let's talk about Miss Meredith. So Meredith and Seth are actually super cute to watch this season. Like I'm enjoying them. Like they're a beat, they're a vibe. I'm here for it. You know, they're a vibe. I'm here for it. The girlie loves the vibes, and I love the podcast concept. But this is another couple that I think just have an agreement. I think at this point in their lives, not when they first got married. I think when they first got married, it was like, you know, like husband wife stuff. But I think at this point in their lives, I think she does her, he does him, and they are good co-parents to their children. And I think that they like being, quote, married, husband and wife. It's a part of their business, it's a part of their brand. I think they also want to play nice with each other because they don't want anybody poking into their marriage and into their business anymore. When it comes to, you know, who's cheating, who's not cheating, who's living together, who's not living together. Excuse me. You know, why is he always traveling? Blah, 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 blah. But I do think they're actually in a good place. Like, I don't think that they're pretending to be in a good place to like show face. I think they're actually in a good place. But that good place is, hey, listen, we've been married for 20 plus years. We've built this life together. We have businesses together. We have these children. It doesn't really matter. Let's just do life together in this way. I think they have another understanding like that. Do you see what I'm saying? Where I think she does her, he does him, and it works for them. And I'm here for it. You know, like I always said, like, if you are an adult, you have 100% a right to govern your life, your lifestyle, and your relationships as long as they are safe and consensual, any way you want to. You know what I'm saying? So I think that I kind of think they're like how Angie and her husband would have been if those rumors didn't come to light. They're just like, listen, we've been together for all these years. We have our family, we have the money, we have the businesses. Let's just, write it on out. That's what I think is going on with them. But it's actually nice to see them because I do think they're in a good place. So I love to see it. Okay. I'm also looking forward to seeing more of Meredith. I feel like we saw more of her this episode than we have in a lot of the other episodes. Hopefully, her and Lisa are back being a fun duo. Like I said before, on Lisa's side, I do think that Meredith was 100% correct in her fight with Lisa. Like, Lisa needs to put a pin in it. Like, let the past be the past at this point. You gotta let it go, girl. Like, just let it go. And she was being a hypocrite. You can't sit down and be like, I know all this stuff about Monica, but I'm not gonna say it. But then say, oh, but Meredith is this horrible person because she said, I know all this stuff about Angie, but I'm not gonna say it. You guys basically said the same exact thing. So, girl, bye. Okay. Her play event was cute, and she was smart to use, lower power. This is lower power. I meant just lower price points, right? Um, because again, plated jewelry is way more accessible because it's not, real gold or not solid gold and all that. It's just the plated, so it's way more accessible. One, it's way more economical to source and to get, and B, it's just way more accessible for people to buy. So that was a really smart move on her behalf. So if she doesn't want to do, what do you call it? More expensive stuff. So that's kind of where I land with Meredith. I'm looking forward to seeing more of her meltdowns. Hopefully everything will come out with her and Angie. I wonder if she's going to have a Monica moment. I wonder if she's going to have a Lisa moment. But I hope her and Lisa just get back to being friends. Like, it's a dead horse. I'm over it. I'm liking Meredith. She's very chill. She's just very laying it on the line. And I love it when she goes lawyer on people and she gathers them. Like the way she went lawyer on Lisa and gathered her about, well, actually, you said the same thing I did. When Meredith gets into lawyer mode, it is a total vibe, total moment. Absolutely love it. 100%. Okay. Now let's get to Miss Mary. Now, people only go to Mary when they have a common enemy. So Monica thought that Mary would be on her side about Lisa, but Mary actually, to Mary's credit, I have to say, was actually fair and held her accountable. She's like, well, you give just as much as you get, and you need to not hold grudge and let it go. Like, she actually gave really good advice and held Monica accountable. Now, do I think Monica actually likes Mary? No. But do I think Monica realized she needed an ally? Yes. But Miss Mary, you need to spend your time looking after your very problematic son. Last live, we talked about it. Her son he's going through some things. He had multiple DUIs. He was posting, drugs and paraphernalia and weapons and everything on his social media accounts. So he might be facing criminal charges. And I think he's like maybe 20, 21, maybe. It is not a good look, and her not even knowing if he was married or not. Like, to me, I feel bad even talking about it because to me, her son is on a very, very dangerous line. You know what I mean? When you're mixing alcohol and drugs and all this stuff. And I mean, like, the hard stuff. He had like pills and cough syrup and all this stuff. Like, that's basically like a headline waiting to happen, So when I talk about her son in this way, I do it with a little bit of trepidation because I just get this feeling like, I don't know, like, it's scary. You hear about people overdosing all the time. And it sounds like it could be one of those situations if it doesn't get under control. Because I feel like if you are so bolden to be posting this online after you've already been arrested for driving under the influence, you are in a dark, hellish place. And it just takes one pill. It just takes one snort. It takes one shoot up for things to go to a place that you cannot come back from. So I think Mary needs to really put all of her energy in getting her son into rehab and figuring out what the hell is going on with him. Because to me, there's just something very dark and scary going on there. And it just takes one too many one too much, and it's a headline none of us wants to read. You see what I'm saying? So, no, I don't think Mary is going on the trip. I don't know. I don't know. Ugh, all right, you guys. So those are my takes on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. But I, of course, want to know what you guys think. So I'm gonna drop the link in case anybody wants to come up and chat. And then I'll also take some of your candy cane questions and comments. Hi, Rose versus Happy Thanksgiving. Hi, Nataski. Hi, Tay Tay the Savior. Tay Tay says, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I'm Team Whitney. Ah, it's okay. It's okay. All opinions are welcome here. And Task says, hi, everyone. Hi, sweetheart. How are you? She says, I understand that not everyone knows how to deal with people grieving. My gut tells me she was being honest when she said that. Yeah, I agree. I don't think Lisa had any malintent the way Whitney was acting like it. You know, it's one thing for Whitney to say, listen, you didn't come into the party and that hurt my feelings because I really care about you and I want your support, versus you were doing this to hurt me. You were being self-centered. You were just sucking up to Heather to hurt me. You ignored me. Like, those are two different things. Whereas I don't think Lisa had any malintent when it came to how she handled the situation with Whitney at the party. But with that being said, I do think she could have handled herself differently once Whitney communicated to her how she felt. 1 second, guys. All right. Toxic says not everyone is emotional and knows how to deal with emotions. It doesn't mean that they are bad people. Trust me, it's something I've recently learned myself. So true. So true. And the thing is, everybody handles grief differently. So not just not just Whitney handling her grief, but also like, how do you hold space for other people's pain, right? Tay said Heather is right. Monica is somewhat like Jen Shaw. I agree. Hey guys. Tay says, Angie said that production was protecting Monica. 100%. To me, it is so obvious that production is protecting Monica. I think she has done and said things that are way worse than what we've seen on TV because she's a production plant. Natasha says, and Lisa was right. She was a good apologizer, a little too good, if you ask me. 100%. That's the thing. Monica knew when to turn it off and she knew when to turn it on. You know what I mean? So she was such a good apologizer to Lisa because I think she felt like her position on the show was in jeopardy after Heather talked to her. You know, if they're going to cancel a cast trip because of Monica, that means she's really skating on very, very thin ice. You know what I mean? Tammy says Lisa is a narcissist, can't stand her. Uh-oh. Sierra says, laughing my A off. I'm sick of the kids too, right? Like, I'm tired of the kids. Like, I feel like your children should get 1 to 3 scenes per season, not per episode. It's enough. Sierra says they done picked out a new Mormon mission outfit for this dude on every other episode. Enough. I agree. Dasky says, you go enough. I'm dead. I'm tired of it too. Sierra says, I'm like, Lisa, bring us something else. 100%. Dasky says, alas, exactly. She had a whole smirk. Yeah, Whitney had a smirk. And to me, her smirk wasn't one of someone grieving. It was someone who just got some get back. You know what I mean? Jessica says she's resentful of Lisa for befriending Heather. Yep. She goes, that's it. Exactly. It's giving weird. Hey, Tammy. Tammy says, agree. Hey, sweetheart. The Topsy says, if you haven't had sex in 2 years while married and there's no postpartum or medical reasons, then other things are going on. Exactly. A preteen doesn't need to be in bed with you. I agree. It's kind of weird. Like, it's bizarre. It's giving like, do we need to call Child Protective Services? You know, where is Shannon Bedore when you need her? Like, I don't know, like a whole child in the bed. I don't know. Again, I'm not a parent, you know, so I'm not judging anybody's parenting skills, but I do think that there needs to be an appropriate age or a child is no longer actively sleeping every single night in the bed with their parent or parents. That's just kind of how I feel. I don't know. Maybe we could talk to like a developmental psychiatrist. Tammy says Angie should go ahead and bring nothing to the show. I agree, Tammy, 100%. She says that's odd. I agree. Ty says we're like, hi, what are y'all doing? Hey, Miss T, what's up? She says hello, Candy of the Canes. Hey, sweetheart. And Tasca says hi, Miss T. Hey, what's up? And Tasca says yeah, it's giving launder, 100%. Miss T says Whitney wants a therapist just to be on her side. Yep. Natasha says, I think Whit is over her marriage. Natasha says that part. Haha, shut up, Whitney. Miss T says 100%. Miss T says Whitney does not want support from Meredith. No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't. Miss T says, Chow, what? Adam says, hey, Candy. Hey, sweetheart. Adam says, Team Lisa Barlow. Yes, we know. Sames. Miss T says, Heather is always trying to teach us some Mormon stuff, right? And I'm like, Heather, didn't you leave the Mormon church? Didn't you write a book about it? Like, I don't want Little House on the Prairie. Like, I really don't. Miss T says, Seth is still odd, but I like the podcast. He is. Emil says, hey, Candy, when will you recap Married in Medicine? I look forward to your POV. I can do that either tonight or tomorrow. I was going to do it last week, but then with Thanksgiving, I had to push back a lot of my lives because I just ended up hanging out with my family. But that is on the queue, Emmanuel, 100%. And hey, thank you so much for joining. Miss T says, Meredith seemed very chill at the event. I agree. Dusty says, it's just not 100% solid gold. Right. Tess says, Adam, haha, you know it. Seth is the oddest. Miss T says, Mary won a compliment for the cake she didn't make. Mary is a mess. Mary, you need to go mind your Mary, you need to go talk to your son. You really do. You need to go talk to your son, unless your son is some type of sacrifice and you don't care. Because weirder things have happened. Miss T says, Mary's son is off the chain. He is. Is Mary going on a trip? I don't think so. I can't see Mary doing that. I mean, she didn't even want to be in Palm Springs. Was it Palm Springs or wherever the hell she went? When she went and got the McDonald's and stuff. Adam says the Nat has a new gig with Extra TV. I saw a clip on that. Mary was interviewed by her, and Mary said production didn't invite her to any of the trips. Well, why would they invite her? Elizabeth says Team Lisa. You know, she was nothing but a snooze fest. Natasha says she was like, oh shoot, I need to reel it in. Exactly. Hey, Natasha, you want to share?
Hi. I'm a little under the weather, so my voice might sound like I'm like nasally, snazily.
Oh no, it's okay.
But yeah, I'm per usual agreeing with all your bullet points.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what did we do before the candy bullet points? Like,
What did
I
we do?
I'm not
You know what we
sure.
did? I literally just talked to like a picture of them. Like
Yeah,
it would have been just like the photo, and I just would have talked because I would have written down notes. So I would like talk from my notes, but on screen would just be a picture. And so then I was like, why don't I just write my notes on the screen?
right? I love it. I'm here for it all day.
Yeah. Hey, Adam. He says, I hope you get better, Natasha.
Thanks, Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with the Whitney thing, I don't know. I just got now. I'm a pretty sensitive person, right? So even though sometimes I come in a little harsh, but like I have total empathy for Whitney losing her best friend. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
absolutely awful. But it's you have to remember sometimes too. Like I feel like there's a couple things happening. This is the first level of it. Like you have to remember that not everyone knows how to handle people dealing with grief.
Right.
You don't know because there's so many variables because not everyone is even dealing like usually it's a lot of times with grief though too like
Yeah.
it doesn't click really until like a little bit further out. So like
Mm-hmm.
for her to just be 2 days and being like, I needed you, like if that was a real emotion, you wouldn't have come to that revelation until like weeks out from now. For me, like in my
Yeah.
head.
Same. Same.
So like
Same.
I don't really think that's really authentic. And then and then seeing her with that smirk, it just like confirmed it with me.
Yeah. Yeah. At the end of the day, Whitney was just pissed that Lisa and Heather are close and she's the odd one out. That's really what it's about. It's not about her friend passing. And I hate to say that because I want to be sensitive and understanding, but I agree with you. Usually when you do have that initial shock, you're actually kind of the opposite. You're kind of like, no, I'm okay. Like, I'm good. Like, don't worry about me. And then after a couple days or a week, it kind of hits you and you're like, wait a minute, where is everybody? You know? So
Like you're kind
yeah.
of like numb if you're in that middle of it just happened and that grief it just like hits you like a
Yeah.
brick wall. So like you don't have the capacity to be aware of who should be there in that moment and have even the energy to confront them. So
Yeah.
that doesn't really come across authentic to me at all. And
Agreed.
and I also get the vibe that she is resentful because she's like in her mind, she's like, I gave up the bad weather duo for you, Lisa, even though Lisa never asked you to do that. And so
Mhm.
she's like, and now you're friends with Heather, and like now I'm like the one held with the short end of the stick, even though that's totally inaccurate and that's totally just you're being toxic, Whitney, and that's not Lisa's problem. But
Mhm.
like that's like what's happening in her head, I feel, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And Miss T says, did Lisa have another hot mic moment? She didn't. She was about to.
Yeah,
She
she
was
checked
about
it
to,
real
but she was
quick.
like, get this off me. And then she's like, no, you're not putting, and then they were trying to put the mic back on her.
Yeah, she goes, you're not
And she
putting it
was
back
like,
on.
yeah, she's like, you're not putting that back on. And she left with her husband, but she was about to.
She's like,
This
no,
is
no,
the thing.
no, we're not gonna do this again.
I and this is where I think Lisa needs some therapy when it comes to her friendships with, maybe not her all of her friendships, but definitely with women on the show. Is she still, and I understand it, like they, if we're being honest, they have really gone for Lisa a lot. They don't let her get away with
A
anything.
lot.
She says one word, they are in her, they are just going down. Like they come at
Five versus
Lisa
one style. It's
all the time.
crazy.
So I get it. It's very, very
Taxing.
impactful, and it's very traumatic to be in that situation. That's why I think she needs to go to therapy to get some distance from it, because I think that Lisa is still so in it. That's why she's like, oh, I want to get close to Meredith, but I can't, and this, and then blah blah blah, and like, and she's all over the
Because it's
place, and
still
like,
kind of happening.
and it's still kind of happening. And she's like, Angie, you went to Heather's house, she never let me go to her house, I can't believe that, I'm really upset. And then when
Mhm.
Whitney's just like, you didn't hug me, she's like, what do you mean I'm selfish? It's just like, okay, listen, Lisa, you need to get some therapy when it comes to healing the trauma from being on the show, and then dealing with these ladies in a way where you can get some distance from it and perspective from it, so that you're not being so triggered by them,
And
a
affected.
kind
Yeah.
of doing their, not that it should be their job to go after one person, but I think that she's taking it so personal, which
Yeah.
is hard not to.
Which
Do you
is
know
a
what I mean?
testament to her being authentic if she is taking it personal. You know what I
Yeah, and just
mean?
like Adam said, Lisa Barlow's MVP. If Lisa wants to leave the show, it'd be a sleeping pill. I agree, but it's very much very like very similar to like what happened to like Lisa Vanderpump when she's the MVP and everybody goes after her. It takes a toll. Heather Dubrow, we saw in the Real Housewives of OC this season. Heather Dubrow took a toll on her mentally and emotionally. She's out here looking like freaking Skeletor. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, Heather, baby girl, like get it together. But you know, but it's hard because it cuts both ways. Because on one side, I'm like, the way they systematically bully and go after the women that they are so intrinsically jealous of is disgusting. And it would take a lot of like mental and emotional, like
People don't
deep,
realize the extent
deep,
that Lisa has endured, too.
exactly, deep resiliency to separate it and to not be so affected by it. But that's the paradox, because the moment she's not affected by it, they'll stop. Because
They want that
that's
reaction.
why Whitney had that smirk, because she got the reaction out of Lisa that she wanted. She
Hmm.
wanted Lisa to pop off. She wanted Lisa to storm out. She wanted Lisa to look crazy and like she was overreacting. That's why she had that smirk on her face. If Lisa had a little bit of distance from it and just said, "Oh my god, girl, I am so sorry. I can't believe that." And like hugged her and was just like, "I am so sorry. Like let me take you to dinner." Like, "Oh my gosh, blah 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 blah." And she didn't give Whitney what she wanted, Whitney would not have had that smirk. Do you see what I'm
Ew, the
saying?
more I still have the smirk in my head. Like I could
Mhm.
picture her, and it's kind of making me sick.
Yeah,
I hate it.
it was bad. It was very bad.
Yeah, like what in the sinister? Like
Yeah.
gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I definitely think because she is a plant, yeah, I think she is a lot like, I think it's silly for people to not just assume that she takes on a lot of similar characteristics as Jen, considering she
Yeah.
worked for her.
Yeah.
And like the fact that like she's able to like reel it in and then punch it out so easily, and like it shows that like a
Hmm.
lot of this is an act for her, because when I saw
Yeah.
her, it like, honestly, that almost fooled even me, because like it was like she was being literally honest with what she was doing, and that's why like even Lisa was like, oh, you're good, because that's like
Yeah.
kind of scary, you know what I mean? If you're able to like be that convincing, because she was being kind of honest in that moment, even though she didn't necessarily probably even believe her words, but she was just doing it because she had to, and she knew that she may have taken a few steps further than needed. She may have given a little too much drama than the scene allowed. Like, you know what I mean?
I think what she realized is that she was losing allies.
Yeah.
That her going after Lisa the way she was and just acting out and doing the absolute most and all the things that we didn't see, that it wasn't actually winning her favor on the show. That it was actually doing the opposite effect. Because I think that if Heather was like, "Oh, girl, you killed it with Lisa," she would have kept it. She would have kept upping the ante. But I think when Heather was like, "Okay, girl, you need to actually like calm the f down, and if you don't, we're not even going on your trip." She was like, "Oh, wait a minute, this charade I'm doing isn't working. Oh, okay, well let me reel it in."
She underestimated Lisa's allies, and
Mm-hmm.
like just like common sense of the other girls.
Miss T
Like,
says, "Who's?" Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
oh no, I was just gonna say, like, these women have dealt with this kind of character before. Like, you're not the first, sweetie. Like,
Mm-hmm.
the woman's in jail who they dealt with, the original of this. Like, you didn't write this playbook, so like they see you acting like this, and they're gonna nip it in the bud real quick.
Yeah. Yeah. Miss T says, "Whose donuts and liquor did Monica give away? Because I thought Angie wasn't invited." I think she brought Angie's just in case. But you're right, Angie wasn't invited. And so that's when Monica was like, well, one of the girls didn't come. I think she probably just had Angie's there. But then obviously Angie wasn't invited. So she did it. So that's what I think happened with that. But I was like, listen, if you're giving away liquor and donuts, I live at 123 Candy Lane. Send it on over. Send
Those
it on
donuts really
over.
look good.
They
They
look
look
really good.
like really
Yeah,
good pastry kind, not just like Dunkin' Donuts.
I know. So, you guys, I have a question. Put it in the chat and also Natasha. If I go live in about 15 to 20 minutes for Married to Medicine, will you guys come back and hang out?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah? I'm just wondering if I should keep doing Salt Lake City or if we should switch to Married to Med.
I kind of want to keep talking Salt Lake, but I don't know. It's up to you.
Miss T says absolutely 100. Okay, let's keep doing. Adam says for sure. Okay, let's keep doing Salt Lake for 15 minutes, and then give me 15 minutes to prep for Married to Medicine, and then we'll go live then. So Natasha, you keep going since you want to do Salt Lake City, girl.
Okay, now I have a lot of pressure. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Cause wait, can you go back to
Yeah,
the slides? I wish I had like a space bar where I can go. Just
I
kidding.
know. Which girl?
Um,
Oh wait, we have company. Hey, Chels.
Hey y'all, can you hear me?
Yeah,
hey
we can hear
Shells.
you. Want to
Hey
sound off?
guys.
Hey.
I've been like dipping in and out from the live, so
Yeah.
I just heard you say like Married to Medicine, but then I was like, "Ooh, wait, I want to chime in."
Come on up. Yeah, we're gonna do Married to Medicine after this.
But Natasha, you were saying something, so I didn't want to cut you off.
Oh no, she was saying, because I said I kind of forgot what I was going to say, so I was like, I kind of want to talk more about this show though first before we get into Married and Medicine. And then she's like, "Well, here you got
You
the
got the
mic," and I
floor.
was like, "Oh shoot!" So you came at the right time, girl.
Okay, perfect. Well, like I said, I was doing stuff, but like I was listening like back and forth, and again, Candy, I feel like we agree on majority like everything, and with this episode, your recap, I agree like completely. I will say with listening to like other people and like their opinions and what they had to say with the Lisa and Whitney interaction last night. I was like so cringe because I was like, is Lisa really not going to say anything? Like,
Right.
and I also think that I think production probably made it look bad just because everyone else
Yeah.
was like hugging her and like saying they're sorry. I think the difference is that in the confessional, Whitney was like, Lisa was the first person I told. So I can empathize with Whitney kind of, maybe I can see her wanting just like at least a hug or something. But in Candy's, argument or the recap was like, Whitney didn't even really care about that. Well, I will say that I don't. It came across now seeing that and the whole smirk and the smile at the end. I don't think it had anything to do with her wanting the hug. I think she is jealous when it
Exactly.
comes to
Yep.
Heather, because I was like,
100%.
because when she pulled her away when they went in the back, I was like, okay, she's gonna talk. Because remember when Lisa took Whitney to the side and was like, can I talk to you for a second? I forgot she mentioned Meredith, right? Was that the girl? Was that the woman she mentioned?
Yeah, when Lisa took Whitney to the side.
Yeah, and
Yeah, it
wanted to
was
talk to her
Meredith.
about Meredith,
Yeah,
right? That is when Whitney should have been like, "Hello, like my friend just died. I told you like less than 24 hours ago. Where's my hug?" You know what I mean? At least like something. But she didn't say anything, and that's when I just felt like it was all cringe. But then when Lisa said, I don't know how people grieve differently, so I didn't want to make her uncomfortable. So I was like, okay, she has me there, like chestnut checkers. People, she can get away with saying that, but I still think at the end of the day, you could at least greeted her like with a hug or something, and then to see like your past arch nemesis give a gift to like another girl, cousin, whatever you're beefing with. I could see why Whitney was like bothered, but I think that again, Whitney just not being real about it and trying to get away with playing off that Lisa looks horrible for not consoling her when she lost a friend, when really that's not even the whole thing.
But Chels, don't you think that
yeah,
like it's weird that like if you're really dealing with that level of grief, like typically you wouldn't even have the capacity to be like, I needed you. Like, wouldn't that be like a little further out? Like, I feel like someone who is really that was in that moment, if that was an authentic feeling at that time, that wouldn't happen to further out. Like you're kind of numb or whatever. And also, like, didn't they like have kind of an argument too the last time they saw each other? And then she called her and was like, my friend died. And so she sent her flowers. So, like, Lisa is kind of in an awkward position. She doesn't
I
know
think
how to
I think
address
she's in an
her.
awkward position too, but again, I don't know because I also try to like put myself in other people's shoes, and I can't really speak on how Whitney really feels because I've never lost a best friend, but I have been losing people close to me, like family members who it has hurt really bad. And to me, it kind of looked like maybe she was going because she needed love and she needed
Yeah.
to be around, like just because I felt I think maybe it was a different Housewives recap, but someone like wanting sympathy. I feel like it came off kind of like that. Like maybe she just wanted sympathy because she lost her best friend and this is what she's wanting from the girls. But it didn't come off like that because how she reacted with the whole, how she got mad at Lisa, not because Lisa didn't say anything, it was because of the gift. Like she made it be about the gift, not, but it just looks bad more so Lisa not saying something because her friend passed.
Yeah.
My view, like, and if it did, like, she's right by saying, and what Candy said, like when she was like, I didn't, it's not about the flowers, I wanted you, like I felt like we were watching a scene,
Lisa
like
was
it
like,
was a show or
right.
something, like what is this, like the
I was like,
Notebook, like I
the
wanted
exactly.
you, I needed you to be there for me.
like,
It
what
was
in the
like,
rom com?
girl,
Exactly. I
right,
didn't want flowers.
yes,
I wanted you. I was like, are you guys having sex? Like,
like this is like, is this
is it
TV,
that
is
deep?
this
Lisa
Because like
TV
like
I'm
deep
got
not
something?
like
Lisa
I'm
looked like
not
very
saying that to
confused.
anybody. I'm not like that in deep with. Like I wanted, like even like my best girlfriend, I want to be like, I wanted you. Like
It was, yeah, and just
what?
the way she came
She could
up,
have
like
said
it was
like
just
I
like,
needed a friend, not I wanted
yes,
you.
Exactly.
There's like
yes,
a
like
different
Yeah.
way she could have said
Or
that.
you
It
would
was
just say,
weird.
you just said, like, I needed you to, like, I wanted your support. I wanted your love. I just wanted you to hug me.
Yeah.
And this is why I don't believe Whitney also, like, this also came up when you guys were talking, is because I know people grieve differently. But given this circumstance, I'm confused as to why Whitney's go-to with Lisa was anger. It wasn't hurt. It was anger.
Yeah,
And I think she's
exactly.
angry because she's friends with Heather. And she
Yeah.
was pissed that she brought Heather a gift, not her. Like, because I'm thinking about it. If I am, 2 days out, 1 day out, my best friend passing away from cancer,
You're not
I
angry,
can't
yeah.
imagine that. I'm not angry yet. And I'm also not angry at other people. I'm angry at my friend dying because you left
Yeah.
me. That's where the anger comes from in your grieving period. You're angry that the person left you. You're not angry because Lisa is walking around a party. You know what I mean? Like trying to get some
Lisa
Yeah, I
shouldn't
think
even
it
champagne.
be
was.
in your
I definitely
mind
think
like
it was
that.
behind.
It,
She was angry at the different thing, but she's getting
yep.
away with saying it's kind of like the shoe kind of fits, so you can get
Mhm.
away with saying like, "Oh, I'm gonna make you feel bad because I'm gonna make you feel
Exactly.
like a POS because you didn't like comfort me with my friend." But in reality, like I'm really bitter because you didn't give me a gift, or you're acknowledging like my cousin
She
who I'm
could
beefing with right now.
she can
Yeah,
kind of
she's
pull
Yeah.
off that excuse, but it wasn't really what was going
because
on.
because you
Yeah.
guys are right, because at the end when because Lisa gets pissed and she gets flustered, and I kind of have reactions like Lisa does, but I'm trying to contain myself because I realize like the
Same.
louder your reaction, like the message doesn't get across. So her little like outbursts be cracking me up sometimes, and she just needs to like contain herself. But Whitney knew exactly what she was doing because she popped off her rocket, and then she acted like she was pissed off and like mad too when she walked away. I thought in the next scene she would have been like looking upset, or her face would have been like flustered or just like upset or mad, maybe crying. She looked fine. She had the
I thought she
smirkish little
left.
like sneaky face look. You know what I mean? Like I got her. I got her all pissed off in the back of
Yep.
the room,
She
and
looked
now I'm out
smug.
here just having a grand old time, and she's and she's in the back and she's pissed. When
Yeah,
in reality,
she
I
looked
I
thought she
have to
smug.
left, so I
be
was
like,
surprised she was even walking back
Mhm.
in.
No,
me
she
too.
she played Lisa like a fiddle. That's why I'm like,
She
"Lisa,
did.
baby, I love you. You need to get some therapy around this friendship group that you're
Yeah, you're
Mm-hmm.
in
not because you're
because you're
letting
letting
Whitney fool you
you're letting
now.
these beta bees run you." Like the fact that Lisa hasn't made up with Meredith is ridiculous. Like and I love Lisa, so it takes a lot for me to say this, but like she's losing her luster because she's
Mm-hmm.
letting them dim her shine. Because
Yeah.
she's giving her way all of her power to Heather, to Whitney, to Meredith, where it's like, girl, wake up. You're on the show. I get what they do is dirty and wrong, and I would feel some type of way too, but then I'd have to be like, okay, I'm going to put my candy work hat on, not my candy person hat on. And I'm about to gather these girls like what? And remind them who exactly I am. And you don't do that by letting them get you all the way worked up out of your
Mm-hmm.
character, having Mike moments and storming out and all this stuff. That's when you get people like Whitney Rose having smug smirk moments, which is why when I saw that face, I was like, yeah, my gut was right.
You can't trust
This
Whitney.
had nothing to do with her friend passing away. This had
Yeah.
everything to do with Whitney always weaponizing her trauma to manipulate and control other people when they don't do what she wants them to do.
Yep.
But if
Yep.
And
you
I
go after like
genuinely,
Lisa's character, she will flip out. Because she was like saying it under her breath too, and like pissed. She's like, "I'm tired of everyone acting like I'm this, or I'm like I'm selfish." And I felt I did hear Lisa when she was talking to Whitney. Like, I've sent you flowers. You have flowers like on the way. I feel like she gets so focused on. She just needs to have a little bit more like check this out attitude, and not just blow up and then just go on about it. You know what I mean? Or you can fuss a girl out and then go on about, but her like taking off the mic and yelling and all that stuff, I mean, it makes for good TV, but at the end of the day, you're the one that looks crazy, and Whitney looks like, you know what I mean, unbothered, whatever. People who can't see past like the real.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Or who haven't really been watching it. They're just going to look and be like, oh my God,
Yeah.
Lisa is out of control. She shouldn't have done that. And then Whitney looks like she did nothing wrong.
Yeah, and that's why I keep saying she needs to go to like therapy and really unpack it, because what happens in those moments when people blow up over one thing, and that's also like the essence of being triggered, it's that it shouldn't be called a trigger, it should be called triggering a dominoes, because you're not reacting to the one thing, you're
Hmm.
reacting to all of the things. So
Mm-hmm.
when Whitney comes at her and it's like, oh, you didn't hug me or whatever, and you gave her a gift, she's now reacting to every single time one of these women have called her fake, called her selfish, called her stuck up, wasn't a good friend to her, betrayed her. So she's going from 0 to 100 because she's reacting to all of that pain compounded. because that's what happens when we get triggered. Something in the moment reminds us of all of the hurt and the pain that we have. And so we're reacting to all of it rather than reacting to what's actually in front of us.
Exactly. I think, yeah, that's like nail on the head. Can you guys answer me this before you move on? Because I was watching it and I thought that, what's her name? I said April, Angie. I thought Angie got invited to the.
April.
Yeah. And I do. Poor sweet Ange. I mean, she's okay. I mean, she kind of reminds me
No,
of.
she's not. She's garbage.
Okay, look, I'm
Poor
trying to be a little
sweet
nice.
Ange.
Okay, I'm
You
trying to get
know,
a little
she's
bit of
like
point.
worse than tofu because at least
She
tofu just blends in, but she
she's
like
like a
adds a little stank
Cynthia.
to it. She
She's
adds a
like the
little stank.
Cynthia of Housewives of Atlanta. You know what I mean? She's very obor, but she's there, and she might be there for a while. Cynthia from Atlanta like gave nothing. I mean, Angie just started in her seasons. But to rewind, my question was, did Angie not get invited to Bermuda? Because I thought in her conversation she had with Heather, she was like, oh, I'm the only one that didn't get the invite. But I was like, I thought you
I
were
think that was
there
the
at the.
Meredith
No,
thing.
to Meredith's party because Angie and Meredith beef so hard. They were talking about Meredith's
Oh,
plated
Meredith's
party.
party.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
but
Meredith's
the
party.
entire cast except for Mary will be going to Bermuda.
Oh, okay.
But she was
That's what I
talking
missed. Because
about,
I was
yeah.
like, wait,
And that's
what?
why Monica had the extra liquor and the extra donuts because Angie wasn't invited. So she brought enough for all the girls, and then she was like, "Oh, but one didn't come, aka she wasn't invited." So she had the extra to give to those people. She had
Okay.
extra to give to the extras because
Okay,
all those
that
people
makes
at
sense.
those
Because I was
parties
like,
are
wait,
extras.
I was way confused. Okay, and
Yeah.
riddle me this because I can't wait for
Yeah.
the reunion to come out because this lawsuit has me just like questioning because I'm watching this right now. I don't know when this is filmed, but we're in like the end of 2023. I seen your video earlier today with the DMs, like the messages
Yes.
that were like in 2019. Is that I think they were timestamped.
Yeah, they were 2019 to
So
2020.
they're filming this, and Monica is aware that she has a lawsuit under Heather's beauty business, brow bar, whatever it's called. Like,
Yeah, Beauty Laser and Lab.
Laser and Lab. So she like, from my understanding, from what I'm trying to gather, is that Monica knows she's suing this Laser Lab, and she knows it's Heather's, and it's going to come out all at the end.
Wait, no.
Question mark?
So Monica is filming the reunion knowing that she's in a lawsuit with Heather. She did not film the season knowing that. Because what happens is on the Bermuda trip is when Heather learns that the Monica Fowler who owes Beauty Lab and Blazer $2,000 is the same Monica Garcia who is now her cast member / ally / friend on the show. So once
Yes.
she
So
realizes
Monica
that
knew?
these are the two same, so Monica knew that she did not pay Beauty Lab, but at that point there's no lawsuit. The
So
lawsuit
Monica didn't
comes
Yeah,
know
there's
that
after
Beauty Lab was
filming
going to come
happens.
after her.
Yeah, the
Correct.
lawsuit started post filming, but
Post
she's
filming.
fully aware that Heather owns that company, so she
Then she's
knows that she
also
did them
fully aware
dirty.
that she never paid, knowing that
Yeah,
Heather
Correct.
owns the company.
exactly.
Y'all know she's like, come on, like
Psycho.
Right.
you cheat on your husband with
Yeah.
your family for damn near 2 years.
So how is
Yep.
anyone
You're
trusting you? Like,
scamming
I'm confused.
your car. Like there's
Yeah.
something going on. There's something going on because the way that I'm just watching that right now, like I get the whole Heather's not going to find out and the lawsuit didn't come about, but the fact that the fact that Monica got services by Heather's business and went on about and just didn't pay. Like
Yep.
after seeing your message, after seeing your video of the DMs and stuff, I was like, wait a minute.
Yep.
So
Wait, you guys. I just thought of something.
Yes, my love.
So when did they stop filming this? Do we know?
Maybe June, July?
Okay.
know.
When did the lawsuit come out, though?
Okay, wait,
The
time
lawsuit
out.
wasn't until, like,
I can
Sorry.
I can give you timestamps because you know how Whitney's friend just passed away?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that was around April. So they have to be
okay.
filming like around maybe January through May or like February through May.
So they're going to Bermuda May, June.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the
So
lawsuit
if-
comes out after that.
When did the lawsuit come out though? Because like, how long are you going to wait? Like several months, or did she wait till after the reunion maybe to see what she had to say?
No, they just filmed the reunion in November.
Oh, did the lawsuit come before the reunion?
Yeah, because we've been
Yeah.
talking about the lawsuit. So this is what happened. I think the lawsuit was like August. Let me see if I can look it up real quick. When did Heather Gay
The problem is they need
sue
to pinpoint
Monica?
out and point out that Monica got on a show and got services done by another one of her castmates' business and never paid. And then you wanted to
Yeah,
hop on the show
yeah,
and think that it wasn't going to ever come out. That's what
And then she
happened.
goes out
that's what happened.
drinking,
Yeah,
high-fiving with her, pretending like she's one of the guys. Meanwhile, she knows she did her business dirty this whole time and never revealed it. Not to mention all her past discretions with like her family and mother. Like it's a like how is anyone even like literally giving her the time of day? Like I'm just confused.
Yeah, there's
yep,
something going on there.
yeah,
Way
100%.
too many crimes under her belt. Like I'm sorry. Like
Yeah,
I'm not a judgy person, but like it's
and she
giving.
found Lisa's ring. Come on
She's
now.
literally a walking red flag. Like 100. She doesn't have red flags. She is a red flag.
Not
Like
that
just
she found she found it?
we think so.
Oh, she
But
found
no,
it.
that
She
was quotes.
found it.
She
Yeah.
Well,
found
there was an
it.
anonymous, there was what is it called, Dumois, where it said that the real reason why everyone they were insinuating that the real reason why the whole cast has united against her, because which is odd, because even if like people are like feuding or even if you did something bad, the whole cast doesn't like come in like that hard. Like maybe they would be like, "Okay, girl, you messed up. Like, come on." But no, they're like, "No, we don't stand with her. We're done with her." And so they were saying the real reason is because she just so happened to come into money right after she lost that ring. And then I saw an interview on some red carpet of Monica during BravoCon, and she had like because apparently the ring was a stack, right?
Mhm.
It was like three rings of diamonds, and she had one of them what looked identical to one of them. So like they were like, well, maybe she sold two and kept one, and so everyone was joking. Oh, is that one of Lisa's rings? And she goes, oh no, this is from Amazon, and everyone's like, is it though? And so like yeah,
Trying to lie like in plain sight, you know what I mean? Like
yes, it's
they
not,
won't they won't believe it. Did
and
you guys see
honestly, I wouldn't
Watch
put it
What Happens
past her.
Live with
She
Whitney
was
last night when she
no.
said I was in and out of it too, but I think Andy asked her a question about Monica and like after the union, it was like an ice or something question, but she ended it like their relationship is on ice right now because Whitney was like, I was hoping to get answers cleared after the union with Monica, but unfortunately something like I didn't. And so we're on ice at this moment. She was like, right now we're on ice. And I felt like if anyone was gonna like befriend Monica, it was gonna be probably Angie or Whitney. So yeah, like I think they're all
No, they
not
all
messing with
ice.
her.
Yeah, they're all
They're not messing with her.
none of them want her to come back.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm not mad at it. I'm like
me either.
I
Me
was not I was
neither.
okay with her the first two episodes. I was like, we'll see. But now I'm just like, it seems like a producer plant too. You know, like, okay, she was here for Jen Shaw, yada yada yada, get her out, and then let's get somebody who's actually a housewife.
Yep.
Agreed. Hey, Kanie, you want to sound off?
Hi guys. So like the Monica, I feel like definitely Monica is jealous of Lisa because Lisa knows she's rich and you can see by the way she talks, she's unapologetic about it. And she only apologized because just to like make everything seem cool and what, but I know she didn't like mean it. And with the Whitney and Lisa situation, I feel like Whitney sees Lisa as her sister, so that's why like like how humans are, they need like human social interaction. So she saw like Lisa is a sister, like I need you, I want you, like human interaction kind of way. And Heather, I feel like she just like kisses up to anyone who she feels is superior than her to fit in the group. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear that. I mean, I think that Monica is extremely insecure. You know, she's like, oh, Lisa's so materialistic. But 2 scenes before that, she's crying, talking about how she maxed out her credit card trying to get a Louis Vuitton bag. So it's just like, girl, you're the materialistic one because you said you wanted something nice and you want it to fit in. Whereas, like, me, like, my vibe, my presence is the vibe. You know, I can show up whether I'm wearing a bag from Target or a bag from Hermes,
H&M,
and I'm still
yeah.
going to be the moment. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm me. But that's when you're secure in who you are. And that's why she gets so bothered by Lisa and some of the other women in those moments, because she's so deeply insecure. But instead of saying, like, okay, you're someone that I want to be like, because clearly she does. She's on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, like, for a reason. You're not on the Real Housewives because you want to live a modest life. You know, you want to have that 60K ring. So instead of saying, like, let me befriend them and up my game, she's like a lot of people who are insecure and they say, well, I'm going to bring you down a peg or two. I'm going to bring you down so I can feel better about myself, rather than saying I'm going to rise myself up so I can feel better about me. You know, one is toxic and one isn't. And she's clearly a very toxic person. Because in one breath, you're talking about buying Louis Vuitton bags and all this and all that. And the next breath, you're trying to bring somebody down, saying you're not relatable to middle America. Well, I hope not. This is the Real Housewives. You know? This isn't America Home Videos. Like, get with it.
Wait, I'm a little concerned.
I feel like there's nothing wrong with Lisa being materialistic because she likes opulent, extravagant things. So I don't feel like it's a problem her being materialistic at all. Because that's how she wants to live her life. And if she's like that, then like I don't see the problem with her
And
being
I'm obsessed
materialistic.
with that blue coat she had, and when she was picking out those outfits for her son. That thing was gorgeous. That bright royal blue. She has great coats.
Yeah, she really has great fashion. I like the last outfit she wore when Whitney and her had an altercation. So yeah.
I'm concerned with what Adam just said, that
Me
Meredith
too.
refollowed Monica.
Yuck.
Yikes.
Meredith, what are you doing? Not a good look, Mayor Bear. Does this mean that Meredith and Lisa aren't friends?
God, I can't. Meredith, I'm sorry. I think that Meredith uses her lawyer techniques to her advantage. She is, in a way, kind of like the bad part of Lisa Vanderpump, because she's stirring the pot and then steps back and goes, "I never said anything." They're like, "Did you threaten Whitney to ruin her life or something?" She's like, well, doesn't we could all ruin each other's lives? I'm just like, yeah, but we're not actually saying that to one another, Meredith. Like, come on. Like, she's very smart when she's very like specific with the words she uses, so then she can have kind of like deniability, kind of like what a lawyer would do. You know what I mean? And I find that manipulative, and I don't like that about her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, with Meredith, it's like, I like Meredith, but at the same time, it's like you're only going to get like an inch of her. Like, I don't think we've scratched the surface on who the real Meredith Marks is. We just see her representative at all times.
Let alone that odd husband of hers.
Seth. Thank you, Adam. That's crazy. Yeah. Are you guys ready for Married to Medicine? I'm going to see if I could switch it and stay on the same live. Let's see. Okay, you guys talk while I try and figure this out.
Adam sent in a screenshot of it. Little investigator Adam. Damn.
I know. Little investigator. Let's see. Keep talking while I see if I can do this.
Okay. Yeah, he just sent it. Sorry, what were you saying, Candy?
So like, what's her name? Mary. Is it Mary? I think that's her name.
Yeah.
I still feel like she should have been a full housewife because you can see she's like she really is funny and she gives like main character vibes. She doesn't like form to what the groups say. Like she has a mind of her own. I love like her new wig and the way Monica like wanted in a way for her to be like against Lisa, but then you could see Mary was like, no, both of you guys are like that. So you can't just say it's Lisa when it's actually both of you. So yeah, hopefully they are all back because
Yeah,
I
I don't
I I
know.
can never be
Meredith,
a
I
Mary
mean,
stan. I just can't in my heart. She's just too evil to me.
I just think it's
mm,
weird because she's not willing to go to. Oh my God, he just sent me. Mary has followed her back too. Now they're all starting to follow her back. Oh, hell
Oh
no.
hell no.
mm,
Well,
I'm
Mary
done.
doesn't really count.
Right.
mm.
And why is she like literally doesn't do anything? She doesn't go to anything.
Yeah.
Why is she on the screen? I'm just confused. Like you said it really well. Like, do I have a giggle at some of the stuff she says? Yes. Is it funny?
Mhm.
Yes. But it doesn't take away from the elephant in the room. Like it just is
Which is how
never gonna.
evil she is. Yeah.
I mean,
Oh my God, he's saying fake Whitney followed her back too. I'm done.
I'm so
See,
done.
something
I feel
happened.
like Monica has this girl
Mary
wrapped
has
around
followed
their
Monica
feet.
back after the real reunion. Meredith and Whitney also follow Monica. Wait, you said that. Uh,
You said Whitney followed her too.
that's what this says.
It literally last night on Watch What Happens Live, she had just said that they were on ice. But I mean, look at they all be lying, so
Right.
they
You
all be
can't trust
lying. I
any
need
of
to see
these
like
hosts.
pictures and stuff or like true tea. But with everything that's going on with Mary's son, I think that's probably a good
Yeah.
reason why she's just going to be a friend of the show because she knows with the women and like them how they be in the business. I don't know what's going on, but like I seen some stuff what they reported on her son, and I was like, Lord. So I'm gonna pray for him because I think something's going on over there in the house because he's
He is
wilding. Is he like 19 or 20 now?
he's like 21. And the thing is like neither of his parents are going to be able to help him because they're both like
Exactly.
really messed up. So like someone else needs to come into his life and be like, baby boy, you need some help. Like
Mm.
clearly your family is very, very toxic. So it's understandable that you're going through stuff. But like you can't be doing this. You're going crazy. Like you can't be having like full on drugs on the internet. Like you're not like this isn't like 1990s.
Yeah, it
Like you
just
know what
looks
I mean?
bad. It looks really bad.
Yeah, it's really sick. Super sick.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I hope it's nothing to do with what you said, Candy. I don't even want to say it.
I hope not. I hope nothing bad happens, but
You can't be like too shocked around these days because people be believing in some crazy stuff.
I know.
So do you guys like Miss Jensha?
No.
This cute. You really don't like.
I
Okay.
really don't.
No. Period. The answer is no, period.
I think Jen was too much, and I think Monica is like a little version of her.
Yep, she's like a poor man's version of Jen Shaw, literally.
Yeah, and I wasn't really feeling Jen Shaw and all her yelling. I only like a personality on a show like that if there's someone else that can go to bat with her. And I didn't feel like there was anyone on Salt Lake that matched Jennifer's, you know, personality and anyone that could shut her down. There was nobody on there. I mean, Heather was her friend, but when it came down to it, like, you think you can do all this yelling and hoopla, like I could do that too. Check this out. You know what I mean? Like there was no one I think that Jennifer could like bow down. Kind of like when you have like a Nene in Kenya, you kind of like need that. And I don't feel like you can't just have one person that's doing all the screaming and the yelling. And I feel like that is what Jennifer did. And I feel like that's what Monica's doing. Like when Lisa and Heather were trying to
Not her
talk
proper
about her
name,
and be like,
Jennifer.
you said what, Natasha?
I said not her proper name, Jennifer.
Jennifer,
Because that's what
Jennifer,
Jennifer
Monica,
did.
Mo. Look, I give people nicknames. I'll call you your proper name, whatever it is. But I feel like that's when Monica and Heather were talking. Not Monica and Heather. Lisa and Heather were talking. Is that who they're talking? And she was like, I've never fought with someone like that. Like I've never even told
Yeah, Lisa
like the
said.
name calling type of thing. Like they don't fight like that. Like
And
they
the
don't.
aggression, like it was like
Yeah, like
physical.
there's no one aggressive like that on Salt Lake. You need to go over to, I don't know, Jersey. Go over to I just there's no aggression like that, and you can't like it just looks like she's doing too much when you do all that, and I feel like that's why Monica looks like she's doing too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys, we're gonna switch to Married to Med. You guys are welcome to stay up and chat with me as I go through everything, but totally up to you. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, don't you have like all your points and stuff? Because we can drop down and just like come back.
Yeah, like I
Because I
love
don't want to be like
love to hear your little PowerPoint.
right.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay, we'll see you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. As always, I'm your girl, Candy Washington. So before we dive into today's episode, which is breaking down all things Married to Medicine Season 10, I mean, it's full of gold diggers and frenemies, and ish is getting real in the ATL. Before we dive in, go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. So with that, let's go. So first up, I mean, I think it goes without saying, but we need Mariah Huq back ASAP. She is what, in my opinion, is lacking. I think Mariah gives gorgeous. She gives, fashion. She gives face. She gives the attitude. Like, I think she's more of like the Lisa Vanderpump, the Nene, the MVP, the Lisa Barlows of the whole situation. And I think that Married to Medicine is kind of missing that girl. We have a lot of women on the show who, sure, they have like their fashions like a Phaedra, or maybe even like a Toya, but we're missing that girl energy. And it's not Quad. It's really not. Quad isn't even Married to Medicine anymore. You know what I'm saying? So we're kind of missing that girl energy, which is like a Mariah. And I love Mariah. As you guys know, Married to Medicine is her show. It was her concept. She is the one who pitched it to Bravo and NBC. She's the executive producer and creative byline. And to me, that is just such a flex. Like, I think it's amazing when you are, and I'll just speak for myself, but like, a Black woman creating a television show herself that's not Shonda Rhimes is amazing to see. I love to see it because I can't really name a lot of Black shows who behind the scenes is a Black woman who created it and all of that stuff. There's a lot of Black shows out there, but when you watch the credits, they may not be who you think they are, right? So I'm totally, totally here for that. Now, let's talk about Contessa. As we know, she's not on the show this season. She kind of wilded out last season. I don't know if it was road rage or what was going on, but it was just a lot. But she looked the best she has ever looked at that wedding. She wasn't hulked out. She wasn't super aggro. She just looked beautiful and like in her element and happy. So maybe taking a pause off of the season to gather herself and to get everything together was a really good idea because she seemed really at peace. She seemed happy and she looked amazing. She looked better than I had ever seen her. So maybe next season she could come back if she's in that better, happier space. Okay. So we'll talk about this a little bit when we get to Phaedra's slide. But Phaedra is obviously a producer plant, and she's Quad ally. In order to keep Quad on the show, she needs an ally. And when I get to her slide, I'll tell you what I think is actually going on with Quad. Because I don't think it's what you think it is. I think it's something else, right? But they need that for the Dr. G and Sweet Tea storyline to be as salacious as it is. You need the ex-wife on the show. Because that's how you pit the people together, right? And I'm liking this season. It's fun. But again, it's a bit produced with Quad versus the Sweet Tea stunts. And I think overall, Simone and Jackie need refreshed storylines. If not sort of a new Married to Medicine person, another Married to Medicine wife. They're not housewives, but another wife. Because I do think that there's something missing. Maybe again, it's that it girl factor, but there's just something missing. I'm enjoying it, but it seems a little bit of like rinse, wash, and repeat with the storylines and the dynamics. And I'm not sure that Sweet Tea is the person to modernize and elevate the show. I'm not. It's not giving Sweet Tea to me. Sweet Tea to me. Well, you know what? Let's talk about Sweet Tea. Let's talk about Sweet Tea. So Sweet Tea to me is very immature, and I think she's in over her head. I think she thought she was smarter than she was. I think she thought she was going to come on the show, she was going to be Gregory's new wife and all of this stuff, and I think that she messed around and found out. Number 1, Dr. Heavenly is not your friend. So you got all in your feelings, and in my opinion, I think you did the wrong thing trying to disinvite her to the wedding. Number 1, that is disrespectful to Gregory because Gregory is really good friends with Dr. Damon. So unless you got the go ahead from Gregory to disinvite one of his really good friends, which I don't think you did, that was really, really disrespectful. And you can't be in your feelings because Heavenly is talking about you and I think you're going to make it on this show. Heavenly's whole career, personality type, social media presence, on-screen presence is talking crap. So it's just your day, girl. So you got to get a thicker skin than that. So to disinvite her to the wedding, I thought was really uncouth. I thought it was very bizarre, unsophisticated. Just it was whack. It was completely whack to me. I was just like, this isn't the right step, just because Heavenly was saying what everybody was thinking. You literally had a meltdown with your sister 2 days before you got married over how much the wedding cost, and I don't think that's your sister's fault. Right? So crazy. Now, Sweet Tea, in my opinion, I'm not a Quad fan, but I did feel bad for Quad when Sweet Tea was low-key shading the fact that Quad did not have any children, You never know what persons, whether it's a man or a woman, because there are men who also are infertile and cannot have children. You never know what somebody's situation is. So to try and come for a woman because she doesn't have kids is really disgusting to me. And the way she did it was, remember when she was like talking like, yeah, I slid into Dr. G's DMs and I said, I can give you what you need. And she had a little baby emoji on it. And I was just like, girl, like, don't do that. If you want to be with Dr. G, go ahead. But don't say, I can give you what you need. Which what you're really saying is, well, your wife couldn't get pregnant. Your wife couldn't give you what you wanted, but I can. I can give you a baby. And even if you did say that to him, you didn't have to say that in the confessional. You could have had a little bit more sophistication around how you talk about other people's reproduction processes or whatever the case is. And the gag is you got to be careful when you speak on people like that, because then in the next scene, she's talking about her own reproductive issues she's having. So you lied to Dr. G talking about I can give you what you need. But then you're talking about how you're referred to Dr. Simone and Dr. Jackie and another gynecologist because you have fibroids and cysts and all these other things going on in your uterus. And I don't want that karma. So I'm not coming at you in a negative way. I'm coming at you in the way of what I was saying before. Be careful how you speak when you're trying to clown other people about important things in their life, particularly a woman and whether or not she can give somebody a baby, because karma knows everybody's address. Talking about I can give you what you need, a baby, trying to clown Quad because she didn't have any children. And now you're in the gynecologist trying to get your uterus cleaned out and sorted out. So you got to be careful with that. You got to be careful with that because when you put that type of negativity energy out, it comes back to you. Energy is like a boomerang, That's why they say you get what you put out. You put out that negativity, it's going to come back to you. You put out positivity, that'll come back to you. You got to be careful with that, Sweet Tea also, I don't know. I don't think your quote authenticity is refreshing. I just find you foolish and very, very hard to watch, particularly on a show called Married to Medicine, where the premise of the show, it probably has devolved in 10 years, similar to Housewives, but the premise of the show is, either the wife is a doctor or the husband is a doctor, but there's a certain level of prestige, a certain level of sophistication, a certain level of class, sort of think about how they tried to make Potomac in season 1, like, oh, we are from, the Potomac area, the whatever they called it. We're so blah 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 high society. They all kind of had that premise, and I'm like, what the hell is Sweet Tea doing on the show? Because as out of pocket the other women can get, even Dr. Heavenly, they still bring a certain level of prestige and class, to the show. Dr. Simone's, Dr. Jackie, they're very well educated, very well spoken, very well put together. And I'm not trying to shame Sweet Tea or any way. I'm not trying to be elitist. I'm not trying to say that she's ignorant. I'm not trying to say she's not smart. I'm not saying any of that. What I am saying is that the way that she acts is just very, very immature and very, very tomfoolery. Like the outburst she has, the, saying like, when they were like, oh, what's your favorite thing about being engaged? Oh, it's access to the money. Like, you don't say that. Even if that's what you're thinking, even if that's what your end game is, you don't say it. Or you say it in a way that's kind of like a little bit of tea, a little bit of shade. It's very sophisticated. Like, that's what I mean by Sweet Tea. I'm not coming at her for like education or the way she talks, like nothing like that. I'm just saying like how she actually acts is weird to me. And then also, when her and her friend was there and they were trying to act like we're stupid, like, you're not going to play in my face. Oh, we're in a Facebook support group for women who date older men. And Toya and them were like, you mean sugar babies, girl? Like, don't try and play in our faces. They basically were in a Facebook group for women who are targeting, and I'm using the word target because I think that's what they're doing, targeting older wealthy men to pay for them. Is that prostitution? I don't know. She has a ring. I don't know. But they was basically just like a sugar baby situation where it's like, hey, I'm a young hot girl. I'll give you what you need if you're going to pay me for it. Buy me things and pay me for it. That is not me saying that I don't think it's okay for, and we'll just talk about heterosexual relationships just for this to keep it clean. That's not to say that I don't think that there's anything wrong with a man buying a woman something, providing for her, being a stay-at-home mom or being a kept girlfriend. I'm not saying any of that is wrong. I don't think that's wrong at all. I think that's totally fine. But I do think there's something slimy about my only intention is to trade myself and my body for money with these men if you are not actually a sex worker. That might sound weird, but there's nuances to this, and I'll tell you what I mean. I'm a very liberal person. I personally think that sex work should be legalized. I think that there should be protection for people who choose sex work for how they want to provide for themselves. I have no judgment around that. I think there should be no judgment around it. It's not something that I personally would do or participate in, but I also wouldn't be a baker. I wouldn't be a florist. I wouldn't be a dentist, right? So it doesn't matter what I would do with my life. It's not up to me to decide what other people do with theirs. And I don't take any type of moral high ground. I think that if you are a sex worker, you should be protected. That's where I land on there. And I also think there's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, when I want to settle down with someone or I want to date, I want this person to be financially secure. I want them to be generous with me. I want to feel supported. I want to feel safe in my relationship. But that has to be coupled with true, authentic love and true, like, I really want to meet my person. And these are my standards, and these are the things I value. Versus what I think happened with Sweet Tea and her friend in the Sugar Babies group, which is I am going to target these men and I'm going to exchange sex and my body for money and gifts. It's a nuanced distinction, Let me know if you understand the distinction I mean. But it just seems really grimy to me. Like, that just seems really grimy to me, like the targeting of it. Like Dr. G said, he said, I don't know if I'm the predator or the prey. And then to be on the show and to admit that you've been in this group, this sugar baby group, like, I get it. Like, hey, you got to do what you got to do, I guess. But I guess with me, it's like you either do what you got to do and you own it, or if you don't own it, then you kind of get that slimy feeling. Like, I think that Sweet Tea did target Dr. G. And I think she quickly realized, like, this isn't what I ordered. This isn't what I thought it was going to be, because she was already crying and stressed out and upset. And he was already, like she said, oh, Quad was right. He's very controlling. It's not about the money. It's about this, this, and this. But the problem is when you lead from a place of transaction, you have money, I have the sex you want, then the man is going to think it is about the money. But when you lead from a place of this is my female power, my female value, my presence is a present, and I'm exchanging that for your security and for your safety and for the comfort of your masculine energy, then the man values you for who you are, not for what you give to him. You know what I mean? And to me, that's the biggest difference between someone who says, yes, I want to date someone and these are my standards and these is what I value because I value myself and I'm giving as well, versus, hey, let's get a sugar baby group together and see how we can get old men to pay for us. You know what I'm saying? So, it's crazy. It's crazy. Miss T says, is it a support group, hookup site, upside support group, or a love connection? Basically, they're calling it a support group on the show, but basically what it is there are these groups of sugar baby groups where basically what they do is they teach you basically how to prostitute yourself to wealthy older men. Do these sexual things and do this and that and do whatever, and they'll pay for your school, they'll pay for this, they'll pay all that stuff. Which honestly, if that's the line of work you want to do, then do it, but don't act like it's not that. Don't say this is a support group when it's really a group teaching you how to pimp yourself out. You see what I'm saying? So, Sweet Tea, girl, bye. And then also, and I'm not trying to be rude, but was the whole wedding $14,000? Was that the whole wedding total? Because the wedding did not look that expensive to me. And I don't see them lasting. I can't believe it, but I really agree with Dr. Heavenly. I think that this wedding was rushed, maybe because they wanted it for the show. Maybe they wanted to make sure that they got it for the cameras. And I don't think that these two people actually know each other. I don't think that she really knows Dr. G, and I don't think he really knows her. And I think that they haven't worked out fundamental issues that they have prior to getting married. Because when you say, well, once we get married, then we'll figure it out, or once we get married, then we'll go through it. No, you need to have all that figured out before you get married. Marriage does not fix anything. You should be married once you have it all fixed. And then have a place to go from there. You know what I mean? So it did seem very rushed. I don't see it lasting. I personally don't think Sweet Tea is a fit for the show. That's just me, just her personality and just everything. Like, I don't think she's like a chemistry fit for the show. I don't think she's actually friends with any of these girls. I don't think they actually like her. I think they tolerate her for the show. But I don't think she's really like a fit. And I don't think it's the love triangle that they thought it was going to be between Dr. G, Sweet Tea, and Quad. Because they kept really trying to make that happen. They kept bringing up Quad. Phaedra brought Quad to the party, and then Toya basically kicked her out. They keep trying to make that really happen. But to me, the gag is I don't really care that Quad and Dr. G were married before. To me, more of the juice is this girl is very young, very immature, clearly only in it for the money, and she's in over her head. It's like that saying goes, when you marry for money, you'll be paying for the rest of your life. Because when you marry just for money, you miss actually the the beautiful benefits that quote money actually gives you when you're only focused on the money. You need to be focused on the man. Is he kind? Is he generous? Do I feel safe with him? You know, does he provide for me? But is it only transactional? Because Dr. G seems very controlling, and it seems like everything is transactional. You do what I say, I'll give you this. If you don't get anything. He treats her like, a puppet or a slave or a kid because he has all, quote, the money, and he thinks he has all of the power. So to me, that's more interesting. But I personally don't think she's a fit for the show. I think she's thirsty. I think she's weird. But I don't know what you guys think. All right. Now let's move on to Miss Toya. So Toya will never forgive Quad, and I wouldn't either. Don't forget that Quad said that Toya was cheating on her husband, and she also said that Toya had something to do with Anila's robberies. Those are some hefty allegations to be throwing at your co-star alleged friend on a public international platform. Those are some big things. And Quad said all of that about Toya, which was wrong and was absolutely crazy. And I felt so bad for Toya. I love that Toya and Eugene are doing better and they seem to be in a much happier place. And it seems genuine. It seems like, they went to therapy, they're working through their issues, and everything is going to work out. And so I'm happy for it. I'm happy to see Toya and Eugene doing better in a happier place. Now, this is where it becomes questionable about having children on the show. So the sex talk with her boys was, yes, it's a very, very important conversation to have. I'm happy that they were having it. But is that something the boys are going to want to have shown in across America and beyond? What does it look and feel like for the boys when they go to school? And so I do like the moments when they show vulnerability and their children and these teachable moments, but then we always kind of talk about, but how does that actually affect the children? And not just for Toya and her boys. I mean, like, it's a bigger conversation about, reality TV stars and minor children who are filmed and featured who are minors. They don't really have a say. So we'll see what happens with that. Now, do you think that Toya and Dr. Heavenly will ever be friends? I feel like Dr. Heavenly has kind of loosened up on Toya a bit this season. She seems to be going more for sweet tea, and Toya's ire seems solely focused on Quad, which I totally understand. All right, speaking of Quad, let's talk to her real quick, okay? Let's talk to her real quick. So Quad showing up at the bachelor party was insane to me. Like, I don't know what she thought she was doing or why she thought that would be like a moment. To me, that was very producer produced. I think that production said to Quad, you need to start showing up or you're just going to be off the show and you're not going to get your little check, because what she was doing, these little weird side conversations every now and then, really wasn't working. And then my question is this. Is Quad keeping her distance from the girls because they're all like, oh no, Quad doesn't call us back. She doesn't talk to us. She's doing her. We can't get a hold of her. Or is Quad being ostracized because of what she did to Toya last season? Now, what I mean by that is this. They might not all like Toya. Dr. Heavenly has always been super jealous of Toya. They all might not be super close. But I do think that there is a code. I do think that there is levels to the mess. And I think that Quad crossed the code lines, maybe with the cheating rumors, but definitely with saying that Toya had something to do with Anila's robberies. Now you're blaming felony robbery on somebody without any type of proof. And I do think that between the ladies, there is an understanding, there is a code, and there are levels to it. So do I think that the women have some sort of understanding that they want to ice Quad out? I do. Do I think they're going to use the excuse that Quad doesn't interact with them? I do. Because remember, on these shows, if people will not film with you, if people aren't, willing to be with you on camera, you pretty much lose your job. And it was also very telling when Heavenly and Jackie went to Phaedra's house And Phaedra was like, well, y'all are supposed to be Quad's friends, not Sweet Tea friends. And Dr. Helena was like, well, I'm Quad's friend. And Jackie was like, mm-hmm. And then they're like, oh, well, she doesn't text us back and blah, 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 blah. My gut says there has been some type of conversation between the women where it's been Quad crossed a line and she's no longer married to medicine. And on top of that, I do think Quad is still standoffish. But I do think there is some type of understanding to kind of ice Quad out because none of the women talk about her in a positive way. None of the women are going out of the way to actually have her on the show other than Phaedra, who again is a producer plant. And why are they all rallying around Sweet Tea? They don't know this chick. They don't know her. Why are they going to her parties and all this and that? Like, I get it's for the show because the reality is, if it were not for the show, these women would not be hanging out with Sweet Tea in any type of capacity. They would not be at a bachelorette party. They would not be, they'd be at the wedding just for Dr. Gregory on the groom side, but they wouldn't be about Sweet Tea. The only is because she's a cast member, So I do think that the ladies feel some type of way about Quad. I think that Quad is one of those people who had Nene syndrome, where she thought she was the HBIC on the show. She got side projects, and then she thought that she was better than the show. She thought she was better than the other women, and she just thought that she was above it all. And I think the ladies don't like that. Like Miss T said, she messed up when she put sister circles in the ladies' faces. Exactly. The moment Quad got, something, another show, another gig, sister circle, she definitely became brand new with the other ladies. And yes, we have our favorites. Yes, we have the MVPs. But at the end of the day, these are ensemble cast. And when you kind of get that Nene ego, you get that Bethany Frankel ego going on where you think you're too big to fail, they will ice you out real quick. Either the ladies will or the network will. None of the ladies liked Bethany. And Bravo let go of Nene. Nobody's too big to fail, right? So I think the ladies feel some type of way about Quad, and I do think that there is an understanding to ice her out because they're just not that into her. Okay, now let's talk about Dr. Simone. So Dr. Simone and Cecil are clearly not happy as a couple. She's obviously the breadwinner, but they're co-parenting the boys. I think they're in a very unspoken territory of, like a lot of these couples, we've been married for 20 plus years. It's cheaper to keep you, her to him, because she's the breadwinner. And they're just kind of doing life, kind of co-parenting, kind of floating. They're not having sex. She said they hadn't had sex in 10 years. I don't know if that was an exaggeration, because honestly, who knows with certain people? May have been exaggeration, but clearly their sex life is lacking. Even for her son to say that is kind of bizarre and crazy. And she kept constantly saying, we're never on the same page. So you have to really listen to that. When people are saying something repeatedly, they mean it. She said multiple times, and we're never on the same page. That is a big problem. When you are in a marriage with someone and you're trying to parent your children and you keep saying you're not on the same page, that is a big problem. A big problem. Now, when it comes to Miles, I agree. Miles does need to start carrying his weight financially. If you want to work in film, then use all your connections. You're on freaking Bravo TV right now. Go work at Bravo. Go work at Evolution Media. Go get an internship at NBC. Like, use your nepotism. Use your connections. Use the fact that your parents have money and that you're on a television show. Go talk to Mariah Huck. She got a freaking show on the air, the show that you are currently on. Use every single resource you have. Why are you sitting around here like a freaking deer in headlights when you are literally on a television show talking about you want to break into film? Then go do it. You know what I mean? Don't take a 5th year in college. Go do it. because I don't think that there's anything wrong with nepotism. I don't think there's anything wrong with financially supporting your children. I don't think there's anything wrong with utilizing all the connections you have. If you have a connection, if you have money, if you have a name, use it and rock it till the wheels fall off. But the problem with Miles and certain children in these situations is when they squander their opportunity and their money. Yes, give your kids enough where they can not have to be stressed. If you're able, obviously, if you're able to financially, 100%. If your kid doesn't have to struggle, don't make them struggle. There is no glory in struggling. That's a trauma response. There's no glory in struggling. If you can make your child's life easier, by all means do it, but not to the point where you enable them to have toxic and unhealthy characteristics and habits where they're not actually maturing into self-sufficient adults. Because there's a difference between supporting your child and making their way easier because you can versus enabling them from never growing up and from never becoming independent and from never doing anything on their own. Those are two different things. And I think that Cecil is confusing the two. And I think that Simone is trying to prevent it from happening. Like, yes, we have money to support you, but we're not going to just give it to you if you're not actually utilizing the support that you have. And I think that, and I agree with you, Miss T, Simone is tired. I think she's tired of her husband acting like a kid. I think she's tired of having her kids in her house and supporting them financially. At this point, he is an adult. You've been in college for 5 years. You're an adult at this point. And you also have every opportunity given to you. You are literally on a television show. What's the problem? It reminds me of Candy Burris and Todd Tucker, where I totally disagree with how Todd raises his child Riley. Totally disagree with it. Whereas I completely agree with how Candy has Riley, right? I forgot what Todd's daughter's name, her name. Yeah, Candy has Riley. I 100% agree with how Candy raised Riley. Riley was given every means, opportunity, money, didn't have to struggle. But, Riley's going to school. Then she's going to go to law school. She went to New York. She did an internship at a law firm. If you can make your child's life easier, you should, as long as they are utilizing it in responsible ways that creates them to be responsible adults and human beings. Todd Tucker is so dirty. He didn't want to give his daughter any type of money, any type of support. And Candy was like, I want to give her help. Like, I want to help her. Like, she's my stepdaughter. I consider her family. Like, but she felt she couldn't because it's like, well, then do I disrespect my husband and go against his wishes? But again, it's hard to watch a child struggle who doesn't have to, particularly when Todd Tucker basically lives off of Candy's money. So, Todd, you want to live off of Candy's money, but you have a problem with your daughter living off of Candy's money because it's not even your money. Let's be honest. Let's be totally clear. Todd is Todd because of Candy. Mama Joyce had it all the way right. Todd is making movies called The Pass, and it's on, Peacock and all these other channels because of Candy. Without Candy, I don't think little Todd Tucker would be making all of these movies and having the career he is trying to have. Number one, because of Candy's name, and number two, because of Candy's money. He wants her to executive produce it. An executive producer pays. Come on now. Exactly, Miss T. Todd wouldn't even let her stay in an empty apartment. Like, how dirty and how freaking, just disgusting you have to be as a human being to not help your child when they genuinely need the help, and you are and it's not even your money, it's Candy's money. And Candy herself wanted to help. Now, I know we're not talking about Roa, but since I'm on the tangent, Candy Burris, you're in danger, girl. You in danger, okay? And I'm going to tell you why you in danger. I'm going to do another video on this, but I'll spill the tea for you guys who are on this. The reason why Candy Burris is in danger, me personally, as a creative person, as a writer, as a content creator, usually when we write something or we come up with something, there is some sort of lived experience that's in it. We put a piece of ourselves in it, even if it's fantasy, even if it's fiction, even if it's, Avatar. There's some semblance of the creator's life in it. It's inherent, it's subconscious. As creators, you never create something that is not a part of you, even if it's a completely wackadoodle story. Did you guys watch The Pass? If you haven't, you should, because Todd basically laid out the blueprint for how he is about to take Candy Burris to the cleaners. Because people always telling themselves, The Pass, the movie, to me, is a complete blueprint to Todd Tucker wanting to exploit Candy, and when he divorced her, try and get all of her money and leave her high and dry. The premise of the Pass, and I'll tell you this, spoiler alert, is a man meets a woman. She is way more financially mobile than he is. They end up getting married. She's trying to have a baby, but they can't have a baby. All this stuff, whatever is going on. They live in the house that her mother paid for. The mother is very overbearing and berates the husband because he doesn't have any money. Mama Joyce, anybody. Long story short, he convinces his wife that they need to have a quote, a pass. And the wife is Drew Sidora. He can go out and have sex. She can go out and have sex. You get a pass, baby. You get a pass. Long story short, turns out he had all these loopholes in the prenup that if she is caught cheating on him, then he gets all of this money, all of this inheritance money that she just came into. So basically what he did is he set up all these like cameras and everything, got the proof. And then when they're going through the divorce, is like, see, she cheated on me. I have all the proof. But she was like, but no, we had a pass. You cheated. And he was like, no, I didn't. And everybody in their life, the friends that they surrounded themselves with, were in on the con. All of his friends, people that she thought were her friends, that were his friends, were in on the con. They were the ones, the woman who was sleeping with her was in on the con. The friends were in on the con. They were setting up the cameras and everything. And then at the very end of it, they all talk about this powwow. They're like, yeah, man, you did a 7-year long con. It took you 7 years to get all this money from her. Ha, 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 ha. And in my mind, I was like, Candy, did you not read this script and felt like you were about to be reading a memoir? Todd basically just told you he married you for his money. He hates you. He hates your mother. And all of his friends are in on the okie doke. And you know how we know this? Number one, remember when Candy and Todd were getting married and there was the issue with the prenup? And all of his friends, his quote boys, were like, yo, don't sign that. Don't, whatever, it's fine. Don't get married, blah, blah, blah. They were all in it, be like, yo, you don't need to sign that. You're Todd Tucker, blah, 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 blah. And he was all mad. And Candy was like, no, we're not getting married unless you sign this. So he like had to sign it. And then anytime, and I get it, Mama Joyce clowns him, but I believe in mother's intuition because Mama Joyce is pretty much right. If you look at there was an episode of Roa where they did the premiere party for the pass, and the way Todd and his entire crew looked at Mama Joyce like they were in disgust, right there told me this script is basically a blueprint. Sure, they changed a couple of things here and there. They're trying to have this, they're trying to have that, but also having kids was a bag. Because if they do get divorced, I'm pretty sure Candy will be paying him child support, not the other way around. Child support and alimony. There's a lot of men out here that are getting children for bags, not just girls, not just women. A lot of men are like, you need to pay me child support and alimony. A lot of men are like that. So Todd got 2 bags. And then the last season of Roa, Candy looks miserable as hell because she is so unhappy in her marriage. Todd is never there for her. He doesn't support her. He wants her to slow down, but then he wants her to invest in and do all of his projects. They're clearly not happy. And that's why she was in a bad mood the entire season. And to me, if I would have read that script, I would have been like, boop, 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 boop. Hey, lawyer, we need to look at that prenup real quick and very deep and do a deep dive. Because I don't think that little Todd Tucker wrote that script as fiction. And also a lot of writers, when we're first writing, we can't help it. When we're first writing, you're pretty much writing your own story. You know, that's why a lot of writers say their first novels, their first books, their first dissertations, it's almost autobiographical. Even if you have different people's names, it's just the creative process. You know, like when I write, there's always a part of me in it. It's not about me, it's not about my life. It's fiction, but you can't separate the two, really. You know what I mean? And so I was like, Candy, you in danger, girl. Todd basically just told you he has a 7-year plan. I wanted to Google how long have Todd and Candy been married? What does their prenup look like? What is the status of it? Because if you're willing to do that to your own daughter, your own flesh and blood, make her suffer, and you don't even want to share the money that's not even yours with her, different. Exactly, Lavender Blunts, like Kevin Federline did to Brittany. 100%. 100%. Yeah. So if you guys haven't watched the movie The Past, you should watch it and let me know. I got chills. I was like, Candy Bears, you're in danger, girl. You're in danger. He has some. I hope I'm wrong, but I think there's probably some loophole in that prenup that Todd was able to weasel in, or something happened, because Todd, I'm telling you, that movie is a prophecy. But I hope not. I hope not, because I actually really like Candy and I don't want anything bad to happen to her. But yeah. Well, that was a tangent. Anyway, back to Simone and Cecil. They definitely need a refreshed storyline, because I like this season, but it's very much rinse, wash, and repeat. Do you know what I mean? And I need some freshness. And to me, it's not Sweet Tea. She's not it. She's not that girl. Very similar to Dr. Jackie. Did we talk about Dr. Jackie? So I do like Jackie's evolution to working less and getting more support at work and enjoying her life more, the more self-care, a little bit more relaxed, laid back. I do like that about her. But like I said about Simone, I need a refreshed storyline. Like, what's good? Like, what's happening? It's just the same old, let's go talk to Dr. Heavenly, come to my OBGYN practice. Let's go talk to Dr. Heavenly, come to my OBGYN. Like, it's just the same over and over and over again. Like, what's good? You know what I mean? I really want something new. Oh, that's a good point, Miss T. Miss T says, what happened to the book, Simone? So, like I said, because man, I tell you, I need to start like saving my videos more. But Simone and Cecil were doing the book, but they decided to no longer do the book because it was causing too many problems in their marriage. Right? It was causing too much problems in their marriage doing the book. And what I said was they shouldn't do a book, they should do a podcast where each episode on the show, they are doing a solo podcast, they are interviewing couples, they're talking about their own life, and then the podcast is out while the show is going, so people can go listen to the podcast while it's on. Pretty much a baked-in marketing machine. And that's exactly what Meredith and Seth did on this season of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. They're doing a podcast exactly that I said that they should have done last season. But the book is off the table. They're no longer doing the book because it was causing too many problems, like Almarosa said. Because like I said, they're not in a good place. I think they're coexisting, but I don't think they're like lovey-dovey-dovey. And again, I think it's one of those things, just like with Dr. Jackie, it's cheaper to keep them. I think, you know, and I'm like, where is Jackie's husband? Where is he? He's out doing him. I think that they are, quote, married, but only on paper. I think he lives on one side of the house and she lives on the other side. And I think she pays him a monthly allowance, which would be cheaper than getting a divorce. I don't think she wants to have to pay him a hefty alimony. I don't think she wants to have to divide assets. I don't think she wants to have to go through a public divorce. Curtis, thank you, Adam. I think that Dr. Jackie and Curtis are actually separated. They just haven't said it. He has been MIA. You know, they, quote, got through the cheating. But I think that Dr. Jackie is a low-key super freak. She's super freaky, you know, from last season. And I think that she does her stuff. I think he does his stuff. I don't think they do it together. And they're cool with it. And I think Dr. Jackie is just like, it's cheaper to stay married than it is to go through the divorce. And just like I said with Simone, but I do need a refresh story. Like, what else is going on, Dr. Jackie? Like, if you're not going to be honest about the fact that you and your husband are separated, give me something else. Give me something, Dr. Jackie. And I agree that, like, who said it? Lavender said that Jackie stopped body shaming people. No, that's the thing. Dr. Jackie is very problematic to me. Number one, she is very, very dry, very, very stale, and very, very bitter. The way she treated Buffy, publicly talking about Buffy's journey with being like infertile and all of her miscarriages. You don't, again, like I said about Sweet Tea, you don't speak on another woman's womb unless she gives you explicit permission to speak on it, publicly or privately. And then to be so mean about it and so cavalier about it when Buffy was clearly still going through it was disgusting. Like, she had zero empathy or compassion. And then also, Dr. Jackie, again, I'm not a doctor, I don't diagnose. And I'm not trying to body shame her, but I do think that there is some disordered eating when it comes to Dr. Jackie. I do think that she has some issues with control. And I think one way she stays in control is through her body and her weight and what she eats. And then she goes on and calls other people overweight or unhealthy when the truth is your weight in and of itself is actually not an indication of your health. You could be, quote, overweight and be very, very healthy, or you could be skinny as a bone, looking like Dr. Jackie, and be very, very unhealthy. Weight is a factor in your health given certain context, but weight in and of itself does not mean you are healthy or unhealthy. And as a doctor, she should not perpetuate that stereotype and stigma, particularly when it comes to women. So Dr. Jackie to me is very bitter and dry, and she could get off the show for all I care. At least Dr. Simone gives some type of flavor with her personality. Dr. Jackie is just a negative Nancy. She's bitter. She's mean to other people, and she doesn't give anything. Talk about your marriage. What's really going on? Where is Curtis? Where are you at? He's probably with his mistresses who actually have meat on their bones, because the gag is the girls that Curtis was cheating on him with, those were the twerk girls. You know what I mean by the twerk girls, the girls with the big booties. He was like in the twerk girls. You're not going to tell me Curtis is going from the twerk girls to Dr. Jackie trying to get some sex. Nobody can tell me that. I just don't think so. Curtis, he wants a girl with the booty. That's who he was in the hotel with. That was his little mistress. That was his little boo-boo bae. You're not going from the girls who can twerk with the butt to Dr. Jackie talking about I'm sexually satisfied. I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it. And again, I'm not body shaming Dr. Jackie. I bring it up because, number one, she body shames people, but just around her disordered eating, I hope she gets some help for it. I hope she gets some awareness around it. But I definitely think she has some type of issue with that. And it's pretty much the unspoken open secret. Phaedra was like, I got a salad because I know you like to eat healthy. And, everybody makes little comments about Dr. Jackie's eating and about, her body and all of that stuff, But again, I do think it's dangerous when you try to tell people that you have to be a certain weight in order to be, quote, healthy. And that is truly not true at all. It's very, very dangerous. And Dr. Jackie, you can get off my screen because you're not very nice. Okay. So Dr. Heavenly just hates everybody. She's so mean. I know you love her, Adam, but you must love her because she's a mean bully. She's just mean to everybody. And I'm confused. Like, why is she going so hard for Phaedra? She clowned Phaedra's house. And I know that's just Dr. Heavenly, but for some reason, I thought that Heavenly would be a little intimidated by Phaedra and she wouldn't go so deep against her. Do you know what I mean? Just because she would be intimidated by her. But then again, Dr. Heavenly is so deeply insecure that she gets jealous of women who are pretty and beautiful and all of that. Like, her jealousy towards Mariah was honestly hard to watch. It was so seething and deep rooted. And I think every time she saw Mariah, she was living through her childhood trauma and she saw her sister who she thought was prettier and better than her. And it's really hard to watch and sick. Same thing with Toya. That's why she's so mean to Toya, is because she thinks that Toya is so much prettier than her. And Dr. Heavenly has a big problem with pretty women. She called Phaedra a liar, and then she kept saying how Phaedra slept with Dr. G. Like, she asked her that about 5 times. So did you sleep with him? Did you guys ever sleep together? Even at like engagement parties. Like, what? Girls, please stop. Please, 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 please. Miss Teak says Heavenly's a whole kiki. Oh, I can't with Heavenly. I can't. You know why? It's because it's almost like a Mary, where it's, if it wasn't so evil and mean and coming from such a place of vitriol, then yeah, it would be funny. It would be a kiki. But the person's spirit is so evil. I can't partake in it. Like, I can't rejoice in it. I can't kiki in it because she's so evil. Like, they're just really mean. Really, 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 really mean. And she says a lot of stuff that is just horrible. I do agree with her, though, that Sweet Tea is an immature gold digger and that Dr. G is a volatile misogynist and that their marriage is doomed. I do agree with that. As we know, there was domestic violence in Dr. G's and Quad's marriage. And I don't think that just goes away. I don't think it's like, oh, he was only violent with Quad. No, if you're a man that's violent towards women, you'll probably do it again. And with Sweet Tea already talking about how Quad was right, he's so controlling and she's stressed out and all the stuff that's going on, the red flags are already there. Again, as Sweet Tea, I'm kind of like, why would you sign up to be with a man that has been violent towards women? Like, I know people get in those situations and they can't get out of it, but they find out in the relationship. Like, he started out so nice and everything was so good. But like, if you know that, why would you do that? And don't think you're different. Don't think you're special. Don't think, oh, he wouldn't do it to me, because he will. He will. So good. Prayers out to the Sweet Tea and see how that goes. And then Daddy is so checked out. I bet he's out of the door the moment their daughter is off to college. Like, it's so clear that Heavenly trapped Daddy by getting pregnant. Like, it's so clear. And I think that she regrets it, and I think he regrets it. I think that Dr. Heavenly wishes she hadn't done it, because I think that she wishes she had more freedom now and she sort of lived a bigger, different life and everything. And I think she does regret doing it. Daddy is her whole world. And I do think that Damon resents Heavenly for doing it, because she knew how that when he grew up without a dad, and that how family oriented he was, because he didn't want to do that to his kids. So she knew if she got pregnant, she would trap him. And she pretty much said it herself, And so I think that he resents her for that. I think he loves his children, but he resents his wife. And I think the moment that Alora is settled into college, I think Dr. Damon is going to make his exit. There's been rumblings and rumors that he is cheating on her. And also, I think the quiet anger, to me, is one of the scariest angers out there. And I think Dr. Damon has such a quiet anger. Like, last season, when Heavenly was fighting at Contessa's house or somebody's house or Simone's house, and Dr. Damon was like, stop. He was like, just stop. And she kept running her mouth, and he got so pissed. And they got out to the car, and you could tell she looked like, oh no, like it's about to go down when we get home. That silent man anger is frightening. And I think that there is a side to Damon, excuse me, a side to Dr. Damon that none of us have seen that is frightening. Because when you bottle in resentment and bitterness, embarrassment and anger, and you swallow it and swallow it and swallow it, when you finally explode, it is scary. And then isn't there a promo where someone says that Dr. Heavenly hit him in the head with a frying pan? I don't know if they were being facetious or serious, but we'll see. I do think that there's something going on there with that. Yeah. Oh, did we cover everybody? Did I miss anyone? I think that's everyone. Did I get to Phaedra? Maybe I didn't get to Messy Phaedra. Let me see. All right, let me find Phaedra's. All right. So while I get the slide ready, go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. Da, da, da. Ms. G says, Phaedra said she met Apollo in 12th grade, but Apollo is 5 years younger. Phaedra is a liar. No, she definitely is, 100%. But Heavenly, I was like, girl, you going real hard over here for Faye. Real hard. No, Phaedra's a big time liar. Okay. All right. So now we're getting into Miss Faye. Now, I know a lot of people like wanted her back on Bravo. I wasn't a big Faye fan. I wasn't that big into Phaedra. Like I know a lot of people were, but like I wasn't. Yes, she can read. Yes, she can be shady, but I didn't think she was like that much of a vibe. But then again, that's just me. And I'm also not a fan of like recycling these people over and over again. I want fresh faces. I want new talents. I want, more people to have a chance. So just recycling Phaedra didn't make any sense to me. But Phaedra on Real Housewives of Dubai versus Married to Medicine, from a chemistry standpoint, I definitely think that Phaedra works better on Married to Medicine. I thought trying to cast her for the Real Housewives of Dubai was a mess. It just seemed like a sloppy casting, and the chemistry wasn't there. But I do think Married to Medicine just makes the most sense. It's located in Atlanta. She actually knows some of the people on the show. Personality-wise, it just makes sense. Now, I definitely think that Phaedra is a producer plant, and I think she has an alliance with Quad to be her ally. Because I think the producers needed Quad on the show to make the Dr. G triangle work. Because it wouldn't be as salacious if Quad wasn't around for Dr. G to come back to get married to Sweet Pea. You'd be like, okay, whatever. But the fact that Quad's supposed to be friends with the girls and she's popping up at bachelorette parties, makes it more salacious, more of a storyline, right? Now, I need more from Phaedra. She is a liar and she never opens up, but like, what is going on in her personal life? And like Miss T said, she lied and said that her and Apollo were together since 12th grade, but Apollo is 5 years younger than her. But Phaedra's been lying for a long time. She lied on Roa. Remember when they asked her how far along she was in her pregnancy, and she lied about how far along she was because she didn't want to admit that she got knocked up before she got married? Girl, bye. Who cares? Tell the truth and shame the devil, but I want more from her personal life. Like, if you're going to be a producer plant, fine, but show us this doctor you're allegedly dating. If you can't show us him, talk about him in a different way. What's going on in your career? What's going on in your social life? Like, she just comes in to have conversations with Quad and Dr. G. And that's boring. Like, I get we need those conversations to carry the show, but we also need some meat. Like, we need some substance. We need your own storyline. We need something going on in your personal life. We need you to give something. You know what I mean? And she was very much the same way on Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, where even the girls were like, you just kind of sit there and smile and you're very polite, but like, you haven't really opened up. You haven't talked about yourself. What's going on in Faye's life? Like, what's really good? And then did you guys notice, this was such a shady boots moment, that Johnny, Sweet Tea's wedding planner, is the same Johnny that sued Candace for over unpaid wages? Remember when Phaedra was like, oh, I did a sketchy calculation and they owe you this much, blah, 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 blah. And he went to Phaedra to sue Candy? That's the same guy. And so I was kind of like, they couldn't find not any other event planner. They had to find the same exact guy that sued Candy Burris. And I was like, are you a Phaedra plant? You know what I mean? Are you a Phaedra plant? just a mess. And then he goes $14K over budget as the wedding planner. Again, I'm just like this. Listen, was the whole budget $14,000? I'm not trying to be too shady, but the wedding didn't look that expensive to me. It kind of looked like it was just in like a mess hall. It just kind of looked like it was in like a big room, and they had the entire wedding in one location, just the room and buffet. Like the whole wedding literally just took place in that one. It looked like a cafeteria in that one room. All the setting was there. She went down. They said their vows. It was super quick. And then they ate and they danced in the cafeteria. Like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? I was like, what is this? What, you're stressing over this? I could have planned this like, oh, in my sleep. Let's just rent a cafeteria. Let's rent a mess hall. Put some chairs in there. Here's a DJ booth. There's the buffet line. Go nuts. That's all her wedding was. Girl, bye. Girl, bye. It was just insane. It was just insane, a mess. But Phaedra, we need more from you. More for you. Adam says, Candy, if you had to own a business with 2 Married to Medicine cast members, who would they be and why? Okay, if we're doing past and present, number 1, Mariah Huq, for obvious reasons. She's the creator of the show, and clearly she has great business savvy because she was able to keep her show, even though Bravo and NBC tried to steal it from her. So I would love to work with her in that capacity. And then the second person would probably have to be Dr. Jackie. Even though I don't like her personally, I do think when it comes to business and keeping things organized and making a profit, I think Dr. Jackie would be a good person to work with. I do think she makes money off of her skincare and everything, or whatever product she was doing. And she seems to have a lot of money and has, other than, paying her husband, husband support, it seems like she's really smart with her money. So I would probably say Dr. Jackie. Yeah. So freaking crazy, you guys. So that's kind of where I stand on everything Married to Medicine. So put it down below. Let me know what your thoughts are, and be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And so I will drop the link in case anybody wants to come up and chat a little bit about Married to Medicine. But I'll also take Candy Cane questions and comments. Dun, dun, dun. Just in case. Let's see. Okay. Let me see where we start with. Okay. Adam says, not being shady, but Monica and Sweet Tea are the most desperate new additions I've seen in a while. I agree. Adam says, Angie is a sleeping pill. Adam's laughing. Whitney says, Adam says, Whitney is so fake. Adam says, Nataski says, true. Adam says, Meredith disappointed me when she refiled the bag of the narcissist. Oh, that's right. We went through this. Okay, you guys. That's right. Don't forget to like. Great panel. Thumbs up. Hit subscribe. Adam says, Heavenly is the new MVP. Absolutely not. Heavenly is so evil. Adam says, fair play. He says, will you miss Contessa? No. I miss how Contessa looked at the wedding because she looked great, but she didn't look like that during the show. I think Contessa needed a beat. I think that she was in a very bad place in her marriage. I think that she was just not happy. And I think when you get people who just aren't happy, it becomes a chore to watch, and it becomes draining. And then they're fighting with everyone. It's almost very similar to Beverly Hills that we have now, where so many people just aren't in a good place that it gets very exhausting to watch. Like Kyle is exhausting to watch. Dorit is exhausting to watch because they're just so miserable. Not even dark like Lisa Rinna. They're just actually not happy people. And that's a very hard place to be. That's a very taxing place to be. Do you know what I mean? And so I don't miss Contessa. I wish her the best, but I want, like I said before, I want freshness. I want newness. I want different Married to Medicine people. And Sweet Tea definitely is not it. Miss T says cafeteria. She says the whole wedding was $14,000. That's what it looked like, y'all. That's what it looked like. Adam says a mess hall. He says that was sus with Johnny. Yep. Miss T says Phaedra house does have a lot going on. That is fair. That is fair. Her house did have a lot of different experiences and colors and areas and inspiration. and it's not my particular aesthetic. I like very either like very like clean beige type of look. Not that I'm like a basic B, but like I like an all beige house. I think is really like sophisticated and nice, or very simplistic yet sleek. Like very understated, like all the pieces are very curated. But her house is a lot. Definitely a lot. Adam says, "How would you cast next season of Married to Medicine?" Also, Mariah and Heavenly would have to be part of the cast. Okay, fine. If you give me Mariah, I will take your Heavenly, even though I don't want to. I think Dr. Jackie can go. I actually think Phaedra can go. Sweet Tea can go. Dr. Simone and Toya can stay for history as an Acres. And I think Quad could go. And then I want to bring in about 3 or 4 new ladies because I like Toya. Toya, this is the thing. The thing with Toya is that Toya always gives. She always gives. So whether it's the good, the bad, or the ugly, Toya gives. So I think Toya can stay. Quad, to me, it's played out. Nobody likes her. It's over. I like Simone, and I think Simone and Heavenly and Mariah and Toya would be enough to be anchors for the show for like legacy, loyalty, but the rest can go. You know? Yes, lavender, beige with pops of sage green and muted colors looks super pretty. Yeah, I love that. I love that aesthetic, 100%. But yeah, but then I would have to cast some new people. But Sweet Tea, Jackie, Phaedra can go. If I had my way, so could Heavenly. Because she's evil. She's mean. It's too mean-spirited. You know? Like, I don't like Portia, but let me put it this way. When Portia is shady, it is funny because it's not coming from a dark spirit. And she can really go down low and be really, really shady. But it's not coming from a dark spirit, even though I don't like Portia. Don't get me started with the whole Simon Gubadier situation, right? But it's not coming from a dark spirit. Even Nene can shade people all day long. It's not coming from a dark spirit. But Heavenly, it's coming from a dark spirit. Mary, it's coming from a dark spirit. Candace is coming from a broken spirit. Because I think Candace is deeply unhappy. I think she's really, really unhappy. So yeah. Lavender says, "Oh my gosh, I hate it when Todd did that to his daughter. Such weird behavior." I agree. And Manuel says, "Todd is going to leave Candy after the 10-year mark. That's what it says on the prenup." There, see? I agree. The moment he hits that 10 years, Todd is going to be out. He already told us. That's right. Miss T says recast. Yep. Adam says Candace is messed up. Yeah, I feel bad for Candace. I really do. I do think that I think she's hurting. I think she's really sad. I think her marriage is struggling. I feel bad for Chris Bassett. He got a really bad rap. Do you know what I mean? Or a super bad rap. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Oof. All right, you guys. I've been talking for almost 3 hours, but this has been so much fun. Miss T says, will Quad have a scene with Dr. G? That's a great question. That's something I would actually like to see so much more than anything else, really. You know, I would love to see a scene with Quad and Dr. G and what that would look like. Also, I wonder if Quad and Sweet Tea will ever talk. This is how I would feel. If I'm Sweet Tea or Quad, we don't need to talk because we were never friends. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, if I'm marrying a guy and him and his ex don't have children, so there's no co-parenting to be had, then I don't need to talk to her. And if I'm the ex-wife, I don't need to talk to the new wife. You know, I would only need to talk to her if we had children and we had to all get on the same page with how we're going to raise our kids. Other than that, I don't need to talk to you. So we'll see. We'll see. Dana says, "Hey girl, hey sweetheart." Adam says, "Same, that would be good to see." Hey Rally Dimes and Sweet Tea and Dr. G are an embarrassment. I agree 100%. Like, Sweet Tea needs to get off the show. Dr. G should have never came back. their little cafeteria wedding, we didn't need it. It's a bit of a mess. Donna says, exactly. Yep. Adam says, sweet tea, I have access to money. Catches divorce her. Watch she divorces her next year. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I wonder if they had a prenup. What went on with that? You know what I'm saying? I agree. Woof. All right, you guys. I've been on for almost 3 hours. I'm going to go and rest my voice. But this has been so much fun. Miss D says, Heavenly is laughing in Sweet Tea's face. She really is. She really is, because Dr. Heavenly knows. You know what I'm saying? She knows. And I don't always like Dr. Heavenly because I do think she's mean-spirited, but some things she says are truthful, you know? But there's a difference between being honest and being cruel. And I think that's the difference between what how Dr. Heavenly says stuff, you know? It's like, if what's that saying, like, if you tell the truth without compassion, it's cruelty. She's a very cruel person. Not that I'm have a lot of empathy for Sweet Tea, but I just mean in general. But I do think Dr. Heavenly is seeing the red flags, and she's like, I don't want to have to say I told you so. But I think she'll be telling everybody so. Hey, Lavender Blunt says, thanks, Candy. Love your recaps. Thank you, sweetheart. Hey, Freddie says, Phaedra is a great addition, but I don't believe she's dating a doctor. Yeah, I agree. She's not dating a doctor. She had some guy on there blurring his face out, and then conveniently they all of a sudden broke up, and then now she's dating some other said doctor. Girl, bye. And this is the thing. Like, I'll say this. If the relationship is actually real and he doesn't want to show his face, fine. I would prefer that than people lying about being single, like Uba and Jenna Lyons. Like, don't lie that you're single when you really have a relationship if your person doesn't want to be on TV. Do that if it's true. But I agree with Freddie, whereas I don't think the relationship is real. It's giving Giselle from Potomac vibes. You know, he lives in the phone. He doesn't even live in the phone. You know, fake relationship, paid boyfriends. Adam says, Heavenly No Sweet Tea is a joke. Heavenly is the realist. Yeah. All right, you guys. On that note, I'm really going to head out this time, but I love you guys. You guys have fun. Have a good night. Happy holidays. And I love you guys. Yeah, DGF says y'all are in it for the long haul. Hey, Candy Canes. Hey, sweetheart. What is up? All right, you guys, be sure to like, subscribe, and share, and I will talk to you next time. Love ya. Bye.